Do not adjust your radio dial. You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
Supposed to be professional, and I'm like,
yeah, what are you, me?
oh God, there's just so much going on. There's so much happening. There's so much to talk about.
So much.
So much. Especially because it's Wednesday night. You know what that means. It's time for the Mark Order Podcast. Here on the Shining Wizards Network. 2 live crew for you right now. It's 2 for me, 2 for you over there. I see you. Ryan Schlong's here with me.
Hello.
And we're hanging out. I don't know. We'll see if we get Hollywooded. Who knows? You never know.
She double booked. We took the back seat.
As is tradition.
So if she doesn't show up, there's no consequences, which is really the problem.
I want to know how you double book knowing where you're at every Wednesday.
Well, she did say, and I don't know if I believe it because this is Kate and she's a known liar.
I don't believe it.
But she did say that it was supposed to record tomorrow, and it got moved up to today.
Who records a post show?
Well, I think theirs is more a review show than a post show.
I mean, we review.
Yeah, but you can do a review show the next day.
You can. But what fun is that? It's fresh in your mind now. You care about it now. You care about it.
Here. I didn't.
I know you're here, Schlong. I know you're here. You're always here. You're here for me when I need you. I know.
I've got to. I was trying to make up a podcast that I was going to do right this second, and I blanked.
No.
I'm going to do AEW Unrestricted. I'll be back.
Oh, Ryan, if you were doing AEW Unrestricted, I'd be so fucking angry at you.
No, you'd be pumped because I would make sure I had Mark Order everywhere.
In your background, get out of here. You would
everywhere. Literally, I would. If they called me tomorrow, I'd be like, "Aunt, I know we don't have any, but I need to get a T-shirt. I need to." Like, you know, we have
Ryan. I'll send you.
Takes a while.
I'll send you fucking artwork, and you can iron it onto your shirt.
That's what I'm saying. I would be rushing. Like, it would almost be obnoxious. I would see if I could be just shy of painting my face the logo.
We could figure out a way for you to paint your face with the logo.
Yeah, so that because if I got on that, things are looking way up for the Mark Order podcast.
I would hope
basically if any of us got on that.
I would hope if they came calling that whoever they came calling to would be like, hey, you know, we're a trio. We stick together.
Well, realistically, I would try to get 4 of us on. I would even try to
that's true. That's true. Matt would be like,
this is the very real. This is the very, very real and serious scenario where they go, no. We want the guy who wore a veil last week, and that's all we want.
That's right.
We have an idea, and that's
the one who loved dark so much that he fucking went off the deep end and got a veil and lace gloves.
Yes. No, if they were, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if I got it. I could get a text message on the side from Tony Khan himself. I'd be like, nah, we need all of us on this one. You need the full story.
The broadcast is here, and they make a great point. They say you should get a Mark Order neck tattoo, Cody style.
If this podcast makes me Cody money, I'll do it in a heartbeat.
It has to be oversized, way too big.
Then literally, it'll be the most obnoxious thing you've ever seen. It'll just be like that.
Oh my god. It up onto your cheek, Ryan. That's a life decision.
If it's making me Cody money,
Okay.
because I firmly believe Cody now has what we call fuck you money.
It's probably true.
And if I can get fuck you money, then I'll get a fuck you tattoo.
Yeah, I mean that checks out. I mean, I can't disagree with you.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean
this is
that's
our show, and I have tattoos. You know, like I've got, where's my arm? Here it is. I got one here. I got one back here. I got a couple on my legs. And someone asked me. I don't remember if it was Mrs. Money or somebody else. They said, would you get your own logo tattooed on you? I'm like, absolutely not.
you could only get your own logo, and I'm very if one it was super successful and it was over.
Over, so not live. Like this was something we've already done.
Yeah, so like we hit it big, we're making $100 million, but the mark order ends for whatever reason, and you're going and doing the AntMoney podcast or AntMoney whatever on your own. We'll say it's amicable. We just something happened. We had to end it at that because if it's amicable, you'd want to honor it.
Sure.
So at that point, you could get it because it's no longer happening. But while it's happening and you're part of it, it just would feel weird to me.
While you're happening and you're part of it, it's just basically like live advertising all the time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like if we were like the number one podcast, I actually don't think I'd care. Like if you got the tattoo, I'd be like, all right, I get it. Because we would
Yeah.
be loaded. And if something makes you that rich, you can get a tattoo of it.
The only thing you were missing when you said loaded there, Ryan, was like this thing with your fingers where you're just
Loaded.
there. You go. That's much
God,
better. That's like,
that fuck you money would be amazing.
I dream about fuck you money a lot of times, but
Uh,
it's never going to happen.
Most of my life wouldn't even change, except waking up for work in the morning.
That's very true. I don't think much would change. I'd probably get more stuff done around my house project wise because I'd have money to pay people to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I would still find like I would still do something. I wouldn't if tomorrow I hit one of those like, like $1 billion lotteries, yes, I'd quit my job and probably for a year do nothing. Just
Sure.
give myself a year of doing nothing. But then I would do something because you have to stimulate your brain. But just to be able to be like, I don't know, answer to anyone.
Yeah, no, I would definitely not work. I'm with you. I'd take a lot of time off. I've
And
even
then
said
work would be a
before,
hobby.
well, that's true. I mean, listen, I say it like all the time. If somebody wanted to pay us to do this all the time and I can sustain myself, I'd put everything I have into creating content all the time.
In a heartbeat.
But nobody's paying me for it. So we're just going to do it as much as we can for the love while I work my 9 to 5 government job. It's not really a government job, but feels like it.
I have to pay the government to work it, so I view it as a government job.
I did get texted randomly tonight by an old friend from college, and he said something to me like, "Well, I did sell out, and I work for the government." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" Because this was somebody I would never figure. I would never figure if it would work for the government. And he's like, "Well, it's the Park Service," and I was like, "That's maybe the worst because that's the easiest government job to avoid. Who the fuck cares about the Park Service? You're just a
Yeah, but
fucking
it's probably
forest narc at that point."
but you probably do nothing.
I don't know. But it was
Weird
good.
things fall under the Park Service, though. Like, it depends on his job, but, like, sometimes in all government things, they'll be like, "Park Service," and you're, like, planning events in the park. Like, you're actually an event planner, but you get considered that
Mhm.
you're Park Service. Like, sometimes weird stuff gets thrown into that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But still, you could be putting on Freddy Spaghetti concerts.
I love Freddy Spaghetti.
Or you could kaboom it.
Kaboom!
I'm
And then
glad you understand what I'm talking about.
oh,
Thank you.
yeah. I'm trying to think, where did he go at the end of that episode?
He just
Because
took
he
the
was
money and bought a boat.
yeah, but
Or
did
he's
he
like,
travel somewhere?
He might have been in Italy or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
I love it that it was all over. It was a scam.
He's like, kaboom! It means nothing. I made it up.
So good.
Fantastic. So Ryan, how have you been?
I've been good. How have you been, Anthony?
Good. Were you up to anything fun since we last saw you here?
No,
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that
I
sounds
had to
good.
think. I had to
Okay.
think, and that was my thinking sound. Um, no. How about yourself? Anything fun? Did you go wild? Did you get crazy?
I didn't get wild or crazy. I went to a couple shows Friday and Saturday. Saw the Good Doctor Friday and Saturday night. Went to a couple concerts. That was fun. Got sick with a head cold. You could probably still hear that a little bit, but I mean, not wild or crazy.
Were
I
there
don't know.
kids?
I am not. Well, that sounds like you're propositioning me to come out as a pedophile, and that's not true. But I
No,
know
I'm.
you're referencing the game show Wild and Crazy Kids. I know.
Yes, I went with that route. Thank you very much.
Can I tell you that today I made a reference to something at work to two people who I thought were really the same age, and one of them pretty close. Like I don't give a shit. I'll say it. I'm 38. I'll be 39 in damn like a month. The person I was talking to at work was 33. The other person, I had no idea how old they were. They were 28. I would have guessed they were anywhere between 20 and 50 because I'm a terrible guess of age. But somebody made mention of something like a dating show, and I was like, well, the only dating show that really fucking mattered was Singled Out. And they both looked at me like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I was like, Singled Out, like, where Jenny McCarthy started. And they were like, doesn't ring a bell. I was like,
You
what
said
the?
one of them was 33.
Yes, they should
You sh-
definitely know.
yeah, I did. It's funny. You know how everyone is like, "Oh, this generation doesn't know like anything." Not like they're dumb, but like they
No,
don't
they are
have like the
dumb.
yeah, but they don't have the historical references.
Yes.
Like like I know not everything, but I know a lot of like 50s sitcoms, 60s like all that stuff.
Hmm.
And I was reading or listening somewhere where it's basically because of Netflix and Spotify and all that, where you're no longer subject to just what people put on. So, like, what's on the TV or what's on the radio. You can choose exactly what you watch and listen to. So, you no longer have to suffer through, I Love Lucy reruns at
Right.
1 p.m. in the afternoon. Whereas when we were kids, Nickelodeon might have cartoons in the morning or cartoon, but you had a lot of just TV shows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an interesting theory.
It does make sense. It was the same. It's the same thing for me, to be honest, with like music. I used to be able to tell you almost all of the song titles on certain albums. But now that everything is digital, I never look at an album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I don't know the song titles, but I think it's the same thing because it's technically it's like essentially a throwaway sort of culture. You know what I mean? Nobody owns music essentially anymore. Everybody
No,
just
you don't
consumes it and moves on.
and you don't have to listen to a full album anymore. Like
True.
when you used to have to buy a full album, you almost felt compelled to listen to the whole thing because you're like, I just spent money on this thing. I'm going to listen to the whole thing. Now it's like, I didn't pay for this. I'm just going to select a song and then I'm going to go on to the next song.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking kids today, Schlong. Kids today. Although I
Yeah.
can tell you, I've recently purchased a cassette because
Does
that's
it
the
work?
new. Yeah, but that's the new. Remember how vinyl used to be the limited thing? So like vinyl used to
Yeah.
be the special release. Now vinyl has sort of become the new normal. Like things now are put out on vinyl, and then I guess you get a download code and you listen to it. Yes.
But here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Vinyl, as much as I never understood it, because I don't hear a difference between digital and vinyl, music nerds were always like, vinyl sounds better. A cassette objectively sounds worse.
Yeah. I don't debate that. Yeah. I mean, they all have their own unique sound. Like when you listen to something on a CD, there's essentially just the sound of the music and how it was recorded. You know what I mean? On
Yeah.
a vinyl, on a record, it's that sort of warmth you get with the needle playing off the record. Like you hear that, you know what I mean? And the cassette has the tape hiss, but it's not as sonically good as, the other options. But yes, cassettes are the new limited thing. So it's not vinyl anymore, where it's like pick up the limited edition vinyl because so many people are pressing vinyl. Then the thing now is pick up a limited edition cassette. Or
Don't
I've even seen 8-track.
I'd almost understand 8-track over cassette, but either way, I don't understand either one of them. But don't like I know with VHSs at least, and I think cassettes are the same way. They wear out even if you don't play them, they degrade over time.
So do
Vinyl doesn't
CDs.
degrade, it stays
Well,
basic.
it depends. It really does. It depends on how well you treat your vinyl. Like if you touch your vinyl, eventually over time, the oils in your fingers
But what I'm saying
fade
is like if I
away.
buy a collector's vinyl and I
Mhm.
keep it in its folder and I just put it away, put it on my
As
shelf.
long as
This
it's in the right excuse me, as long as it's in the right sort of temperature controlled space,
Yeah,
right? You're not
I'm a
leaving.
collector, I have the right
Yep.
room for it. It's
Yep.
gonna stay fine. I buy a
Yep.
cassette, no matter
Mhm.
how good I am to that cassette,
Yeah,
even if I
eventually
don't
the
play it.
tape wears out, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the same thing honestly with CDs. It's not eh, I don't remember how long ago it was, Ryan, because it's been a long time. But I did read an article somewhere once in a magazine or something, like a physical magazine. So that tells you how long it was. But it was all about the fact that like CDs do degrade over time, not as quickly as cassettes, but they do degrade. So eventually, like all these CDs I have on the shelf over here, they will be worthless because eventually they degrade, no matter how well you keep it. So it's all garbage. It's all garbage.
Yeah, it is, I guess. But at the same point, by the time some of them degrades, we'll be dead, so who cares?
That's very true. Very true. The cassette, by the way, I purchased Metallica.
Yeah, at least it makes sense because most of their stuff was just cassette based.
Nope, this was the new album, the brand new.
No, I'm not saying like you buy like, but I'm saying at
No,
least
I know.
they're a
I know.
cassette band. Nothing makes sense to me with them like the new bands that were never on anything like released. Like it's like this wasn't you. I never listened to a
Yeah,
single one of your stuff on this.
yeah. It is weird though when you think of a band like Metallica. They probably went through all phases. They probably, and I
Hmm.
don't know, but I'm thinking about like um Master of Puppets and stuff like that. That was in the 80s. So they were on vinyl. They would have had to have been pressed on vinyl and then cassette. And then when the Black Album came out, it was in the early 90s. So it would have been on CD. And then by the time Load and Reload hit, those absolutely were on CD.
Yeah, I mean,
So
definitely Master of Puppets was definitely on
had to be on
the
vinyl.
yeah because vinyl were around for a lot of those things.
And there was a long crossover period too.
Well, I remember like as a kid, growing up in the '90s, my parents had a record player, like new, like it
Hmm.
was still a thing because at that point, CDs were just becoming popular, and vinyl was still almost better than a cassette if you could get it.
Right. And
N-
CDs were super. The players and the CD, because the discs themselves were super expensive,
And then around like the turn of the century, they got cheap.
real cheap,
I want to see you
to
could
the
get like a new CD for like $20.
to the point where it's at one point you could buy spindles of blank CDs and burn them yourself. Remember that?
Oh, that's what we ended up doing when I was in high school. You
Yep.
would you'd buy, the stack of it. Someone had a good burner. You'd put them in. No, I mean, it wasn't like some people I know tried to sell it. Obviously, we were just doing it among friends. And you'd be like, we all want this CD. And he'd burn like 4 copies of it and everyone get a copy of it. And
Yep.
even
I
print out
found.
like the artwork.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. I found. Old mixtapes, I guess, that were in a drawer that I had, and I was looking for something else, so I put them on one day just to see if it was what I was looking for. They weren't, so I didn't listen through them. But one day, Ryan, I'm going to put on those cassettes I found and hear what sort of goddamn mixtapes I was making, because I know they've got to be all over the fucking map.
I
All
don't
over.
want to know any of what I made.
CDs were so easy because you could just burn them so quickly. Cassettes were a pain in the balls.
But the one problem with CDs is, at least in my experience, sometimes you'd wind up with a really weird CD because you'd have usually it wasn't really Napster because that didn't last that long. It was like
Right.
Kazaa or
And
LimeWire, or one of
LimeWire,
those.
yeah.
And you'd have all this music, and I had siblings, so you had some of their songs on there and all. And you would just be like, select here to down. So sometimes I went up a CD, and I think it's all something I want. And all of a sudden, I'd hear like a pop song. I'm like, what the hell happened to my music?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was Caden, if you keep making us feel old, you're getting a timeout. I just want to express that.
You can put them in a timeout. You
And
know,
I'm giving him a
free
chance
reign.
like a child that he is.
Do you remember too the very short-lived, and I never had it. I knew one kid in high school who had it. Do you remember the mini disc?
Oh my god. Yes, that is a callback I never expected. They really thought that was gonna be a thing.
If you're in the chat and you remember what a mini disc is, please let us know. But I'm gonna talk about it. The mini disc was supposed to be the next big music format, Schlong, because they said you could fit like 50 songs on a mini disc. And it was essentially like a floppy disk, right? It was like a mini CD in a little sort of shell, and you'd pop it in. And they said you could, you could fit a ton of songs on it, but it never took off. They were always super expensive, and they just never took off. That's the mini disc player.
I know. Do you like I knew a couple people who had this.
I knew one kid who
And
had it. He got curb stomped.
for real?
Yeah.
Is he dead?
No. He just got
Holy
jumped one day walking to school.
Holy shit.
I remember the story was he I think I'm not gonna say names, but I know he was, I think, walking to school from the train station because there were kids who came up via the train. And they always told you, don't walk, the bus will come. And I guess the bus was late, so him and some other kids were walking, or maybe they wanted to smoke, so they were walking. And I guess these kids started, like, this group of people started hollering, and he turned around to talk, I guess thinking that everybody else he was walking with had his back, and they all fucking bolted. They were like, I'm not fucking with this. And then he turned around and he had no backup, so they fucking apparently jumped him. But yeah, the mini disc player, they said, could hold all this stuff. And I think, Ryan, it's because it would hold the data. It wouldn't hold like it wasn't like putting the music on the CD. It was basically like holding the data file. But I have no idea. You used to be able to do that at one point with the burn CDs too, because I knew somebody who, in their car, the CD player they had in their car was a data reader. So he could
Oh my
literally
God.
put like 200 songs on a compact disc because it was just the data, and he'd throw it in his CD player, and you could have, like, all those songs ready at your clip.
Trying to find a picture that shows just how small it was for anyone who can't remember, but I can't find a good like
The mini disc itself was very much, it looked like a floppy disk, but it was smaller than a floppy disk. And if
something.
that's the other thing. I'm dating myself now because, Ryan, I'm saying floppy disk, but floppy disk, there you go, very small.
That is, and the thing behind him, I believe, based on what the Reddit article was from the Matrix. Because if you remember, in the Matrix, he had a mini disc.
That's right, he did have a mini disc. I only had access. I only used mini discs for one thing in my life ever, and when I was in college, our college radio station had all the station IDs that we had from, like, bands and stuff. Our station IDs and all of our PSAs, because we were non-commercial. We would just play PSAs. We were a community station. All of those were on mini discs. And I remember thinking, like, who the fuck uses a mini disc? And then eventually,
Yeah.
when we went digital, we never touched them again.
I mean, like that is mini disc falls into the laser disc, falls into the HD DVDs,
Yep.
falls into the all that category where Betamax, all the category of stuff that thought it would be the next thing, and then something came along and crushed it.
Well, the funny thing is, Ryan, that most of the things you just said, and I know this is a wrestling podcast. We'll move on, I promise. But Ryan, I think just about everything you just said there, beta, Laserdisc, and mini disc, all of those things, I believe, were said to be superior than the formats that beat them out. Like, I think everybody had said who owned a beta versus a VHS, beta was superior. And then it never took off. It just lost to VHS.
The argument I always read, I don't know if it's true, is that often whatever porn decided to put stuff out on is what won the category. I know that's actually true for Blu-ray versus HD DVDs.
I don't know.
But because it was a whole I just like listen, this is your podcast and stuff. I mean, I wasn't old enough at the time to be purchasing any of it. Again, because on LimeWire, but apparently porn went with Blu-ray, and that's what killed HD DVDs because that's what everyone wanted to go with. You go where the boobs are.
That's true. Porn really launches a lot of technology. I mean, that's why the internet exists. Let's be serious. Pornography.
Or at least took off.
That's very true. Oh, Schlong, we're old and it's okay. We're talking about wrestling, so we're nerds and we're old, so it's okay.
Yep, we are old nerds.
Gordon Post just simply put in the Zune. I do remember the Zune. I never had one.
All I remember is there's an episode of The Simpsons, and it's obviously a more recent episode because it has Zune in it. And they were throwing out all their garbage into a black hole, and they get sucked in the black hole, and it turns out they end up on this alien planet, and the aliens have Zune, and they think it's the height of technology. Zune.
I don't remember that one. It must have been way more recent after I stopped watching The Simpsons.
Zune.
Oh, man. Well, Schlong, I have to say this. Just going back to last week, we recalled your eulogy. Looks like, I mean, some of the pieces of feedback I saw online looks very good about your eulogy. But I did see, I think it was Eric Freed's in the chat. I'm not scrolling back far enough, but I think he said he missed it. If you didn't catch our episode last week, certainly go back and listen. Schlong prepared a eulogy for Dark and Dark Elevation. If you didn't see it, you should certainly go to our YouTube, go back to last week because Schlong really played the part last week. And Schlong, I still commend you for it because I know it's still hard on you. That's what she said, but it is.
I thank you. I appreciate it. It meant a lot to me. Those two shows, I can't. I'll cry. I'll break down again. By the way, when preparing that eulogy, if I had access to mascara that I could have made run, goddamn bet your ass I would have done it. There was 2 issues. I didn't think about it till the day of, which limited my choices. And 2, I had no idea what I would need to buy so that it would work.
I think you would, more than mascara, maybe just eyeliner.
Oh yeah, just running. I would have done it in a heartbeat. If I literally thought about it at like 6 on last Wednesday. I was like, God damn it.
Oh, sorry, Ryan. That would have been good. But you listen, you dressed the part, you were somber, and it was heartfelt.
It's a sad occasion when all good things must end, but I didn't want it to happen.
Well, to anybody who missed it, check it out. Ryan, I just wanted to say the feedback's been good on it. So there you go.
Thank you. Oh, look, Kyle Kick Sparks is back.
Oh, hey, Kyle.
Kyle, he's been doing I guess it's a play. So he's been busy. So good luck. I hope it is going well. I've seen you dressed up. I don't think that's just your Saturday attire. I'm pretty sure it's Shakespeare. So
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is time. It is. We're getting close to summer. Do some summer stock. Shakespeare in the Park.
I just do that on my own.
You literally just go out to the park and start spouting out Shakespeare?
And I'm like, to be or not to be. And then after people stop kicking my ass, I start again.
Oh, little Macbeth. That's Macbeth, right? Or Macbeth?
I'm
You're
not
the
a Shakespeare
Shakespeare
guy.
guy. Come on.
No, I just know that line, and then someone punches me, and I restart.
I could see you going out there like in Billy Madison,
Oh my
in
god.
the full costume.
To
What is it?
be or not to be.
Eric. Um so Schlong, what should we do here? Let's talk about
Let's talk about
Rampage.
Rampage, baby. Let's talk about it on TV.
We're going to talk about Rampage. Then we're going to take a little break, as we always do, so we can catch our breath. And then we're going to talk about Dynamite tonight, because Dynamite was a full show. So we're not going to talk about Dynamite now. Stay tuned. There is a lot, and Gordon is right. It's Hamlet, not Macbeth, to be or not to be. And
Something
Schlong,
stinks in Denmark.
there's a lot. Well, not a lot, but there are definitely some news and notes to touch on too. So we got a bunch of news and notes to touch on. By the way, I said that's what she said before, Ryan, and all that's been running in my head now is my favorite "that's what she said" quote was, "We need 2 men on this, people. That's what she said. There's no time, but that's what she said. No time."
Now, my favorite is when he comes out of the office, like, I can't make any more jokes. And Jim's like, does that include that's what she said? And he's like, yes. He goes, that's really hard. Sure you can go all day? Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling. And you just see his face and then he looks to Packer. And Packer gives a nod. That's what she said. Great. To me, it's the greatest moment in that show.
Oh, anyway, let's talk about Rampage. Rampage was on Friday at like 6:30 because they keep moving this fucking show. It's going to be on Saturday this week because of basketball or hockey, one of the two. They keep switching on TNT and TBS. So, or actually maybe not. I think TNT is all basketball. Who the hell cares? But
it's TNT.
Hey, did your Sixers get eliminated?
No, they won. They're up 3-2 in the series.
I honestly was asking.
They won in Boston yesterday. So
good. Is it going back to Philly now or no?
Yep.
Oh boy,
going back to Philly.
No, don't do that.
I do what I want. Whatever.
Don't you goddamn dare.
By the way, it's hockey on TNT.
Hockey, yeah. So they are switching it between TBS and TNT. So anyway, it's on Saturday this week. So it keeps getting displaced. But Rampage this week kicked off with El Hijo del Vikingo and the Lucha Brothers in a trios match with Powerhouse Hobbs, QT Marshall, and Aaron Solo. And Vikingo and the Lucha Brothers defeated Hobbs, QT Marshall, and Aaron Solo. And then we go to a backstage footage of MJF after Dynamite went off the air. He was irate, to say the least. Jericho gets interviewed at his locker room door, and he apologized being unable to perform his commenting duties because of Adam Cole's recent attack. He's trying to ensure that Cole will not be allowed to share the same building with him moving forward. And he ends by going back into hiding in his private locker room. So we'll see if he's able to pull that off when we get into Dynamite. We also find out, Schlong, that Taya Valkyrie has been suspended. For those who don't remember, Taya Valkyrie, in her match against Jade Cargill, put her hands on Ref Aubrey. She didn't hit the Road to Valhalla or whatever the fuck it's called, but she snapped. And because of that, they suspended her. So that unfortunately happened to poor Taya. And obviously, Schlong, it's a work.
Clearly.
So Jade Cargill goes on to defeat Gia Scott. She's now 57-0. I'm still wondering what the fuck is going on with Jade Cargill. I guess it's going to be this fucking rematch at the pay-per-view. Stupid. Briscoe's backstage.
Needs to lose.
She needs to lose. It doesn't make sense. Mark Briscoe's backstage getting ready for his match with Preston Vance. He gets interrupted by Jeff Jarrett and his crew. They say they're ready to take the AEW World Tag Team titles from FTR, and they want Mark to pass word to FTR about their intentions for a tag team title match at Double or Nothing. We do get a response tonight. We will talk about that later on. Mark Briscoe goes on to defeat Preston Vance. And then Mark's kids and family are there at the guardrail celebrating after the match is over. Dustin Rhodes gets interviewed. And on May 17th in Austin, Texas, it's his backyard. And that's when he gets attacked by Brian Cage. So Swerve Strickland is there too. Keith Lee chases them away. And there's going to be a match against them all on the 17th. There's promos for Anna Jay and Julia Hart. They announced a no hold barred match, which we'll talk about tonight. And then we get the Firm Deletion. So Schlong, I'm going to pause on the Firm Deletion because I want to ask if there's anything in the front end of Rampage that you necessarily wanted to call out.
All I'll call out, we addressed that Jay needs to lose. We'll talk about the tag stuff during this show. The only thing I'm going to call out is that they need to figure out what they're doing with Hobbs. I liked Hobbs with the QT Marshall thing. Like, it doesn't bother me, but I don't want him taking losses again either. Like, it's not that I mind that he has lackeys that aren't really his lackeys. It's not that I mind that he gets involved with these people, but I don't want him to be taking losses, a lot of losses because of them. I want him to be winning. So they need to figure out where that's going in a hurry.
Yeah, it's just frustrating with Hobbs because he was on this trajectory that looked really promising. And with you, I think we've all discussed this on this show. We liked the QTV thing, but we thought maybe, okay, you have him with them and then sort of he moves on and then maybe you keep rotating people into that spot, right? Because you'd figure that if you're going to run a gimmick where somebody's being like a TMZ, you want to stay with whoever's sort of the flavor of the week. You know what I mean? But they haven't done that. So I'm with you. Hobbs definitely they need to figure out what's going on with Hobbs. So
Agreed.
All right, Schlong, here it is. This is what everybody wants to talk about. The Firm Deletion match. So the Firm shows up at the Hardy compound and they smash his mailbox. And that's when the drone welcomes the Firm to the compound with a message from Broken Matt before changing the time-space continuum to make it go from day to night. And then the faces shoot fireworks at the heels. All 8 men are brawling in the open field.
I'm doing fireworks.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Sorry. I realized you're doing fireworks. I'm sorry. I went silent because I was like, ooh,
yeah, I'm acting along.
Pretty. Now that's when Jeff rams Big Bill into a tree. Bill is able to recover and use his strength to smash the Hardys and Cassidy, repeatedly slamming Isaiah into the tree. Ethan Page counters Matt's twist of fate. Jeff smashes a branch over Bill's back and then chokes him out with another one. And Stoke is being chased down by Matt's kids on Power Wheels. Matt and Ethan step into the ring and they go to commercial break. So let's pause there, Schlong. The first part of this, very classic Hardy compound match here. Any problems with this?
No, I mean, I knew what I was getting when they started it. You know, this was going to be insane, violate the rules of nature, just be its own thing. You have to do it at night because in the day it just isn't the same. The fireworks thing made me laugh because when they passed Hook and he's like all of a sudden eating chips, he's like, "Oh crap, I should be firing fireworks," and he gets up to do it. That made me laugh.
Right.
No, I mean it was what I expected. I had no problem so far. And Stokely running from kids in power, in the Power Wheels was fun.
Fantastic. The Stoke piece was fantastic. By the way, I agree with you. It has to be at night. It just looks better. It's almost like Ryan, we've talked about the bonfire. You've listened to them in the past.
I have, yes.
They've talked before about when like these black or death metal, heavy metal bands play these like music festivals and go on during the day, it's very daytime evil because it's very hard to believe somebody is like evil and demonic when they're out in the sun with their face painted. I agree.
I'm so
This has to be
evil.
done.
It's 70 and sunny.
That's right. All right. So Matt, back from commercial, Matt hits a twist of faith on Ethan Page. Big Bill is able to break up a pin attempt with a chair. Stoke, meanwhile, is being stalked by the kids inside the house, and we see Senior Benjamin zap him and the zap Stokely, and the kids swarm in to get him. Ethan Page has a gas can and pours it on the Hardys, but his plan to set them on fire, much like Eddie Kingston, gets spoiled. Cassidy's able to break it up, and then we see Stoke rolled into the ring, and that's when Matt's kids give him a twist of fate and a swanton. Actually, Matt's kids don't give him a twist of fate. His wife gives him the twist of fate, right?
Yeah.
And then his kid hits the swanton bomb. And Moriarty and Big Bill both get put through tables. Ethan Page gets gets hit by all the baby faces. Hook suplexes him. Matt hits a twist of fate. Jeff finishes him off with a swanton. With Matt making the cover for the 3 count, the Firm has now been deleted. The Hardys, Isaiah Cassidy, and Hook defeat the Firm, and that is the end of the show. So Schlong, I don't know if they've actually like said that the Firm is done, but they have to be at this point, right? They've been deleted.
Someone went up to them and pressed the delete button.
Right. Now, I guess you could recover them out of the recycling bin.
Yeah, if you're not, there's a recycling bin, maybe save to the cloud.
It's true.
That actually would be really funny if like their next entrance is just the cloud. And they just come to the ring. But look, listen, this was a fine match. It is what it is. I loved the story leading up to this. Absolutely loved the Matt Hardy, Ethan Page story. I think it was one of the best in wrestling. It just wasn't getting the attention it deserved. I loved the moment in the match where Matt Hardy was like, under different circumstances, we could have been friends. Like there was a lot in this. You have to like silly, and I like silly.
It's very true.
I'm a big fan of the silly, and this was silly.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're true. Yeah, like you know me. I have a track record of hating matches like this. But these matches, these were like, they've done these a number of times now. They all follow the same formula. You definitely know what you're getting. And that's why I don't necessarily mind these, but I wouldn't want to watch a whole show of matches put on like this. You know what I mean?
No, and it works because it's Rampage, which is a pre-recorded show as is.
Right.
They get around with it. And Gordon Post bringing up that Jeff did in fact light his symbol on fire at the end.
Very true. Very true. I forgot about that.
But it was, like I said, I'm with you. I don't want these regularly, but every now and again, especially when they're silly and especially on a pre-recorded Friday show, I'm not going to complain. That I can quite enjoy that.
So let me also ask you this question, Schlong. Is with the Firm now deleted, what do we hope to see out of the guys involved in the Firm? Because I think at one point it was a good way to have these guys sort of working and involved in stuff, although they never really got going. And I think that their plans sort of got fucked up, you know, with CM Punk and like then MJF.
Yeah, I think there was clearly some plans there that just didn't happen. So a couple things. I take each guy separately. I want Ethan Page to become more of a regular single superstar. I would love to see him win either the TNT or international title. I think he's at that level. I would like to see. I don't know what you do with Big Bill. I actually don't mind Big Bill and Lee Moriarty as a tag team. I actually think they complement each other pretty well. But truthfully, I kind of want to see Lee Moriarty going for the pure title down in ROH. I say down, but I don't view it as like a knock right now because you're throwing talent everywhere.
Right.
So I would love to see Lee Moriarty going for the ROH. But if they don't want him in ROH, they're going to focus him in AEW. kind of want him on a similar path to Ethan, which is that he'd be going for one of those other titles, though he doesn't necessarily have to. I would just like him in some interesting feuds, put him against some other really good wrestlers and let them have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think Lee Moriarty in Ring of Honor makes sense. Ethan Page certainly deserves a shot at something, on Dynamite or whatever the Saturday show becomes, right? That's still all up in the air. Stoke will stick around where Stoke sticks around. He's a great hand. Or he's a great handler, excuse me. And then I think, unfortunately, the odd guy out would be Big Bill on his own. I think he needs to be sort of tagging with somebody. And that's not a knock at Big Bill. It's just they already have a ton of big men. They're we've seen, they're struggling with what they're doing with Hobbs. Wardlow's invested in the TNT title with, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. So it's not like you can have, them sort of duking it out. It's weird. I just feel like Big Bill's sort of in this weird odd man out position, but he's with them, and Gordon Post even brings up the question, do we know what's going on with Scorpio Sky? Personally, I don't know what's going on with Scorpio Sky, but I miss the Scorpio Sky. He was great.
So I think everything we talk about right now with who's going where, as we'll talk about tonight with two wrestlers who made an appearance, is going to be heavily dependent now that they have an additional, what's likely to be 2 hours of TV to fill. The latest report coming out is that they'll get 2 hours on Saturday, you'll have 2 hours at Dynamite, and Rampage stays, but becomes more of like a Sunday night heat, which I'm fine with. That if you are going to have to use way more than you're currently using. You just have to. I don't want a hard brand split, but for the sake of this conversation, we're just going to do it this way. You're going to have a roster for Wednesday, and I want a completely different roster for Wrestling Saturday. And obviously, they can interchange and flip flop, but Gordon Post, he is still with AEW, by the way. But you need to use different people so that it doesn't get boring. When WWE at its worst with the brand split was when they got rid of the brand split and the same guys were just appearing on the same shows. Because you'd see the same guy Monday and Friday. And the reason that's problematic is it gets boring real quick.
Yep.
You burn through a story right away. Whereas have Ethan Page wrestling on Wednesday night, and then you can have Lee Moriarty wrestling Saturday. You're set. They each get to do something, and you haven't burned through Ethan Page's story yet. Whereas if you wrestle Wednesday and Saturday, you're burning through his story at a rapid pace. So they need to, and obviously there's talks. So there is going to be somewhat of a brand split, but not hard. That has been kind of the discussion that it's going to be, for lack of a better, soft, but they're kind of more with what we want, which is guys won't be overlapping on nights, but they'll be floating show to show depending on
Sure.
But that opens the thing of whenever you have a discussion of what's Scorpio Sky gonna do, what's Miro gonna do, now you have a whole other show you're gonna have to fill. You're gonna have to fill tag teams on that show. You're gonna have to fill trios on that show. You're gonna have to fill singles on that show. You're gonna have to fill women on that show.
Right.
So and you still have Rampage. So you have 5 hours of TV you're gonna have to fill and ROH.
Right.
Which in my opinion means you need to give ROH's roster and just say these are the guys on once you have all of your hours of TV set for the next year and a half, 2 years, whatever. It could be longer, but I'm just saying you go, these are the roster. This is the roster for ROH. And these are the guys for AEW. So already we could tell the differentiation. These guys just go ROH. And I would take the belt off Claudio. I would take the belt off anyone you want to see on AEW has to lose the belt. So that ROH is just ROH.
Sure.
And not forever, but say I would make it a call of if you're an ROH, if you're an ROH wrestler, we put you on the roster. You have to do at least 6 months down here before you can be brought up to AEW. Not brought over. I would say over, not up, because you don't make it like. And that way, if Roddy Strong goes down to ROH, whatever, goes down ROH, you don't go, is he going to go the next night? No, if he commits to ROH, he has to give at least 6 months. He has to give a run. So you're treating it like a territory.
Right, sure.
And it'd be a lot easier then, because you could say this group of guys is gone from all my AEW booking. Now this is who I have left for AEW. How do I make them all? I want to show as many guys as possible.
We talk about brand split. And the only thing we really have to compare it to is the E. The problem with the E too is the fact that the problem the brand split doesn't work with them is because they're contracted to two separate networks who want the stars on each of their network. You know what I mean? So like Fox wants Roman Reigns and NBC wants Roman Reigns, right? So like you have to make both of your companies happy. I mean, hypothetically, if they wanted to do a hard brand split with AEW, they could, because it's the same company that they're running TV on for both shows, right? I mean, it's two different networks, but they're owned by the same company. So what do they care? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and part of it is like, like when WWE goes, okay, we're doing a hard brand split, which they've already given up on, even though they said it. Okay, Roman Reigns is SmackDown, which is where he's at. Well, then you look at your roster and you go, well, who does NBC want? And NBC, it's almost like the TV stations made their draft picks.
right.
And they go, well, if we're not getting Roman, we better get Cody.
Right.
So now you have to take Cody from SmackDown, and he can't come back over. Well, if you're going to live by the hard split, he can't come back over. Whereas AEW doesn't have that lock where it's like, oh, Saturday's getting, Wednesday's getting Omega and the Bucks. Well, they can't. Well, that means they can't have the BCC. It's like, no, they can, because TNT doesn't care that they're not on Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
And theoretically, they can be. Like, I like hard brand splits if it's lived and breathed, but like if WWE actually lived and died by it, but they don't. And if you don't, so then what I don't like is, and it is a fear for AEW, so I'm hoping they don't do this, is that I don't like we just talked about. I don't like the idea of doing a brand split where you then just keep reusing the same 15 guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then what are we doing? Like, you're giving me, I don't need 5 hours of any 15 guys. Like, split it up and make it feel different. And you're going to make more money. You're going to get me invested in more wrestlers. You're going to sell more merch. Because the more successful each wrestler in your company is, the better off for your company it is.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Right. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. But all I know is that the firm is no more, so they should all go their separate ways, and we'll see what's going to happen with them. What I can tell you, I'm certain of, Schlong, is that we're going to talk about Dynamite in a few moments here, because Dynamite was a hell of a show tonight, and there is a lot to unpack with it. So we're going to take a short break here to catch our breath, get a drink, maybe have a little pee-pee, who knows? And after a couple words from some of the other shows that are part of the Shining Wizards Network, we'll be back here on the Mark Order Podcast to talk about Dynamite. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
To thank each and every one of you for tuning in every Monday night to listen to the Shining Wizards. If you'd like to continue to support us outside of listening, we've got a few ways for you to do that. If you shop at Amazon, go over to amazon.shiningwizards.com, do your shopping as usual, and when you make your purchase, a little bit of that purchase price will go back to support the show. If you like to wear t-shirts, merch.shiningwizards.com will take you to our Pro Wrestling Tees store, where we've got over a dozen great designs from over 11 years of professional wrestling podcasting. You can become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/wizardspodcast, where each and every week we call out your name as one of our show producers, and the more you support us, the more things that you're entitled to receive, and believe me, they are fantastic. If you can't support us monetarily, if you don't shop at Amazon, that's absolutely fine. Continue to listen to us wherever you listen to us on the World Wide Web, and make sure you like, rate, review, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Doesn't cost you anything, helps us out, and we can continue to bring you the love fest that is the Shining Wizards.
What's up, folks? It's your boy, the Impact Player, Mr. Philly Ray, inviting all of you to check out the Turnbuckle Throwbacks Wrestling Podcast. Join us as we cover all things current in the world of pro wrestling, as well as paying homage to the old school, the squared circle. So listen in and find out why we are the recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment broadcasting. Find us on all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast from. And as always, we are the proudest members of the Shining Wizards Network and Rant Entertainment Media.
Are you tired of being lied to every day by the mainstream media?
Do you want to know what's really going on in the world?
Do you want to make up your own mind about things and not be told what to think or say?
Then listen to Inconclusive Breakdown, a weekly anti-PC look at the world of entertainment and current events, brought to you without censorship or filters.
You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts, BitChute, and on ShiningWizardsNetwork.com.
And also, we're a proud member of the Shining Wizards Network.
Got 30 minutes to kill?
Come check out 30 Screams or Less, where we review a horror movie in 30 minutes or less. We cover new movies and old ones too.
We'll give our honest thoughts on the movie, good or shit, as well as a rating of each one that we watch.
New episodes weekly, available on the Shining Wizards Network and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Corey.
Come check us out at 30 Screams or Less.
G'day guys, my name is Thomas, one half of the Broadcast Podcast. With our podcast, we go back and watch wrestling events from WWE, WWF, WCW, ECW, AEW, and many other wrestling promotions. You can check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast, that's TheBrokast, and you can also download all episodes on Apple Podcast, Castbox, Castro, and many other podcast apps.
You like your music heavy? Then check out Radioactive Metal on the Shining Wizards Network. For over 16 years now, Radioactive Metal has been one of the longest running podcasts. Over the years, we've interviewed some legendary metal acts, had some awesome discussions, and cranked a hell of a lot of tunes. So join your cool Uncle Snowy and his co-host Aaron for the audio mosh pit that is Radioactive Metal here on the Shining Wizards Network.
Well, the action is underway!
What's up, everyone? When on the Shining Wizards Network, be sure to check out Wrestling Night in Canada. If we're not recording another kick-ass podcast,
Or playing in punk bands.
Or recording kick-ass heavy metal albums,
then we're sitting back, we're grabbing a couple brews, and going over everything to do in the world of pro wrestling.
because we're from Winnipeg, you idiots.
The Mark Order Podcast is the only show you need if you're looking for dedicated coverage of everything AEW on the Shining Wizards Network. Join us live on YouTube every Wednesday night at 10:15 p.m. Eastern after Dynamite to chat along with the show. If you can't join us live, listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social channels at MarkOrderPod and use the hashtag #JoinTheMarkOrder, because if you don't find us,
we will find you.
I'm Kevin Rowe.
I'm Al Day.
And we're a couple of down under pounders that co-host Rogue Day Dots, an action figure collecting podcast where we talk about, well, just about anything that tickles our fancy at any given moment.
We're grumpy old men, and sometimes people get on our nerves. And when you get on our nerves, guess what? You get off the lawn.
Get off my lawn, asshole! We also go on a little bit of a mission. We go back and we're grading every wrestling figure line that's out there. I'm talking LJNs, I'm talking Jacks, I'm talking Hasbros. Who doesn't like a little Hulkaplex? It's a Gorilla Brain Wrestling podcast production found on the Shining Wizards Network.
I'm Duke Bags.
Kevin Rowe!
And together we are the co-hosts of Your Duke and Road. If you want to hear about some terrible wrestling shows, we got you covered.
Well, we talk about good ones, too.
We're currently talking about the death of WCW.
I know what we're fucking talking about! Sometimes we get guest spots, like from the Taskmaster. I like to listen to the You're a Duke and Rope podcast. They're funny guys. That I like when they talk about the Nards plows. I like Nards plows. That's a good move. And I like the Dungeon of Doom. You know, sometimes I call my butt the Dungeon of Doom. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Let me tell you a little bit about my favorite wrestling podcast. All right. It's a podcast from two men, Duke Banks, Kevin Rhodes. They talk about professional wrestling. It's a man's sport, all right? And who better to talk about a man's sport than two men? Oklahoma.
And once in a while, Vince Russo stops by.
Oh, you piece of shit! If you're not listening to the You're a Duke and Rope podcast in the back with the boys, you piece of shit, I don't know what you're doing. It's, you gotta slide one in there. If you're a man, you're talking about something only a man can do. You're talking about sliding one in there. Bro, take the time to slide one in there. All right, bro, you piece of shit, slide one in there. A Gorilla Brain Wrestling podcast production that you can find on the Shining Wizards Network.
All right, we're back here on the Mark Order podcast. Schlong, let's take care of a little business before we move on. We want to let everybody know you can follow us on our socials at Mark Order Pod. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all over the place at Mark Order Pod. And if you'd like to support us for free, you can hit us up in our social platforms in the link tree that we have available, and you can request some free stickers from the Mark Order podcast. So all you do is hit the link tree, hit the button for free stickers, give us your full name, your full mailing address, the country you live in, and drop us your email just in case we have questions about your address, and we will mail you out some of these fine Mark Order podcast stickers. I should say, we'll ship them anywhere in the world. We've done it. We've sent some to Australia, to Spain, Ireland, Canada, Florida, all the countries.
Florida's such a letdown after those others.
Right. So hit us up for some free stickers. We appreciate the support, and we'd love to send you some stickers for checking us out. The other thing you could do is, if you'd like to spend some of your hard-earned dollars on us, you can head over to
Give me your goddamn money.
We want the money.
My wife keeps asking, where are the monies? What about the monies?
I keep telling her, Schlong, I don't know about your monies. Please. But you can head over to our Pro Wrestling Tees store. There's also a link for that in the link tree, or you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/markorderpod, or just search for Mark Order Podcast on Pro Wrestling Tees, and our store will pop up, and you can pick one of our 4 fine t-shirts that you would like to rock and show your support for us. Our good pal SJ up in Canada just put up a picture. She got her shirt. She's looking great, showing support for the Mark Order Podcast with some stickers too that we sent out to her. So be like SJ and order a Mark Order Podcast t-shirt. We got a couple front prints, a couple double-sided prints, whatever you like. And we thank you for spending your dollars on us if that's what you choose to do. Schlong, the other thing I got to mention, and this is not a paid advertisement, I should mention. You know, every once in a while, Schlong, I look for a treat, right? And, you know, sometimes people might want some chocolate. Sometimes people might want, you know, hard candy. Sometimes we're looking for something chewy. And if I'm looking for a chewy candy, Schlong, I'm going with High Chews. Do you ever have a High Chew?
I'm not a huge fan.
Shut up.
They don't pay us. I don't care.
Shut up, Schlong. We're trying. High Chew.
They're not gonna pay us.
High Chew. They're immensely fruity and intensely chewy. They're little candies, but they're chewy, and they're really full of flavor. What I've got in front of me is the sweet and sour mix. That's watermelon, lemon, grapefruit. They also have their tropical mix, which is like mango, pineapple, dragon fruit, and kiwi. They have their original flavors. They have soda flavors. It's crazy, but every chew brings flavor to life because they release flavor as you chew. I mean, from the minute you unwrap your high chew to the very last bite, aromas, the aromas of true to life fruit flavors are yours to enjoy. And with the unique double layer that they have in this candy, mouth-watering flavors released as you chew for long-lasting, immense, fruity and intensely chewy experience. Check them out; they're fantastic. That's all I want to say. Is I'm just trying to share some of the things I like with people who listen to the show, and who knows, maybe one day High Chew's going to come calling, and they're going to say, "Do you guys? Can we advertise with you guys?" And we'll be like, "Sure, we love the product. We'd love to tell people about High Chew."
Give me the money.
That's why that one's on the house.
I will praise High Chew to the high heavens if they give me the money.
Schlong, I feel like you'd like the soda flavors, maybe the cola.
Nah, I'm not a High Chew guy.
Schlong, just say yes.
I just saw
maybe they'll send us some free High Chew. That's why, let's get it.
Yeah, you'd be the one to get it, not me. What do I get out of this deal?
I'd send it to you.
I don't want the High Chew.
All right, well, tell me what to pitch next time, and I'll pitch it. Don't worry.
I want the money.
All right, we like money.
Money, 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 money.
So, Schlong, let us talk about Dynamite tonight, because there is a lot to unpack from this show. It was truly like a pay-per-view level card tonight. And it came from the 313. That's Detroit, for those of you who don't know. Fuck Free World 313.
Oh, I should have known that from that. Yeah.
Come on.
He's gonna do it a cappella.
Fuck Papa Doc. Fuck y'all if you
Can't be a
doubt me.
halfway crook.
That's right. So we open up the night with a double Jeopardy match. That's Claudio Castagnoli versus Ray Phoenix. And
they're on company property with company property, so double Jeopardy. We're good.
Double Jeopardy.
That's not double Jeopardy works. What is double Jeopardy?
That's right. What is double Jeopardy? So Schlong, a double Jeopardy match, and to be honest, if they explained what double Jeopardy meant, I missed it. I'm pretty sure
it means that the winner gets a shot at the other's belt.
I was gonna say I thought maybe it was like a proving ground match and they were just rebranding it, but that's actually better. So then cutting to the end of this match, Schlong, Claudio Castagnoli wins by pinfall with the Ricola bomb. So I guess that means that at some point, the Blackpool Combat Club's going to get a shot at those tag team titles.
I have a theory.
All right, let's hear it.
So they're going to surprise. So they get to the very end of the match. You hear Shivani, I think it was Shivani, maybe Excalibur say, but which configuration? It's gonna be Wheeler Yuta and Takeshita. And it's not like he's gonna be a full-on member yet, but this is gonna be like they keep bringing him in a little bit more and more at a time, and this is gonna be the way they bring him in. I'm like, you are now part of the Blackpool Combat Club via our tag team.
Interesting. I like it. I can see it happening. I like it.
They win, and obviously they get the belts.
Okay, so more gold for the Blackpool Combat Club.
The only problem I have with that is I don't want them to hold the belts long because I want an established ROH roster, and I don't think they should be on ROH. I think they're an AEW team.
Right, I agree with you there. But what do you think of the match, Schlong, for an opener?
It was okay, I guess. I mean, if you like good matches with lots of good spots and story, I mean, I guess it's okay. No, I mean, who can't Claudio wrestle? I mean, the dude just fits whatever opponent he's going against, and Ray Phoenix is incredible. I mean, I know Vikingo is like the talk of the world, but the difference between like a Ray Phoenix or a Commander or Vikingo, Ray doesn't make the opponent wait nearly as much for his moves,
right?
Which I think adds to his matches. So he's incredible. It's just a really good match. I mean, my God, those two could go. That's why I'm like, yes, give me tags, give me more of every one of these guys wrestling. It was awesome.
And Phoenix last year went on a tear. Remember, like he had that string of matches in the first half of 2022 that I think like every time he wrestled the singles match, we were like, this is a match of the year candidate. Like it's just that good. And he's still that good.
Yeah, him and Penta, either one could be just a singles guy and it makes sense. And they have been at points in their career, so that's why.
Yeah, for sure. Just a fantastic match. I loved it too, Schlong. It could have easily been a clash of styles, but Claudio is so good at what he does. Phoenix is so good at what he does that it was a really good match, really fun, except for one unfortunate camera angle where they showed, I guess, Phoenix with a spin kick that didn't even come close to Claudio. And commentary had to be like, ooh, a glancing blow. But that was really the only down point that I saw in this match.
Just do not show that on a replay.
No. Yeah, do not. Just let it go. But a fun match. And Schlong, we move on to a backstage segment. And this is, I'm not trying to rush through the first match, but this was a first moment of the night, which was a big surprise. I didn't see it coming. I don't think you saw it coming, but let's talk about it. Backstage, we see somebody from the ground up. They show their feet. They pan up. For a minute, I was like, I'm not there, because those legs looked really good. I was like, hey, I'm not there. And then when they pan all the way up, we find out that it's Miro backstage. And Renee pulls up to him, and she tries to interview him, but he doesn't say anything. He simply looks past Renee, and he goes up to a door, and we see that the door is marked Tony Khan. And he enters and closes the door without saying a word. So Schlong, a big surprise. I had no idea Miro was supposed to appear. We've been asking now for months, where's Miro? Get something together for Miro. Can we please have Miro? Do something with Miro. And today apparently was Miro Day. So Schlong, were you excited? Did you have a spoiler on this one?
I didn't know. Holy shit, he's back. It took him a while to get to the fireworks factory, and we kept being like, when are they getting to the fireworks factory? Well, they finally got to the fireworks factory, and Miro has arrived. And thank God. And I think this just lends more credibility or whatever to the rumor that they're going to have that brand split that's off, because clearly now they have lots of stories in room for. I mean, they should have always. I don't know how he wasn't more of a player, but at this point, you're gonna need, again, he's incredible. I don't know where he goes in the good way, because there's just so many options.
It is going to be interesting to see what they do with him or what they have for him, because for so long we were told there's just nothing for him, right? Like that was the rumor out there, was they don't have anything for him. And we kept saying, how the fuck don't you have anything for Miro? Like, he's so good. You can't not have anything for him. But apparently they got something for him.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, they should figure it out really fucking fast. Now, I don't want to see them pull something together out of their ass for Double or Nothing, but I do want to see him maybe do something of value at Double or Nothing. Or
I think he takes the title off Orange Cassidy.
He's got to take that title. Like,
what? I love Orange Cassidy defending that title.
I do too, but we'll talk about Orange Cassidy when we get there. So I'll hold some of these comments, but I think it's okay that he takes that belt off Orange Cassidy.
I think it's okay. I just don't think he has to. I just think it's good. And he can make the claim, hey, he's international talent.
Yeah, 100%. But I like this a lot. A great surprise, and that Miro's back. And we will see what happens next for Miro. But after that, we get a pre-tape segment from MJF. And I guess we found out here that they were sort of doing this for all of the pillars that were part of the main event at Double or Nothing. So MJF is cutting his promo comparing the pillars to the Beatles. He says Sammy's Ringo, Jungle Boy is George, Darby is John, and MJF himself is Paul, because he's the best with the most longevity. And he's been in the best dog collar match, the best Iron Man match. Now he's going to be in the best 4-way ever, and his reign of terror has just begun. And we go back to break. Schlong, I don't have too much to add here. I liked his promo. I thought it was fun for him to compare them to the Beatles, and sort of put all his thoughts behind why each person was who they were. But I just like when they do these pre-taped sort of segments, these hype segments, because I just think AEW does them really well. You know what I mean? So I thought this was a good one out of MJF, and they told us we'd hear from everybody else throughout the night. I don't know if you have anything else you really want to add to this one.
I saw someone online posit a theory, and I kind of think it works, which is they might have seen that their in-person promos weren't hitting as well. So this was a really good way. These mix of promos they do all night was a really good way to balance that out, because it made them all look fantastic.
Yeah, this was a good one out of MJF. I mean, honestly, what do you expect? Do you expect anything else at this point out of MJF? He's just really good at what he does. So moving on, we come back from commercial with a little bit hype reel for the main event, which is the steel cage match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. And then FTR makes their entrance to get on the mic. And Dax invites his friend Mark Briscoe to come down because they have an apology to make to him. But Mark Briscoe doesn't make his entrance. Instead, it's Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt. And Dutt says that FJR has one job today, and that's to accept their challenge. Excuse me. And that's when things start to get a little heated, but Mark Briscoe makes his entrance, and he tells everybody to simmer down and relax because it's abundantly apparent that they have a hard time controlling their emotions. So he said he talked to his good friend Tony Khan, and he's got some good news. At Double or Nothing, there's going to be a match between FTR and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal for the titles, but Mark Briscoe will be the special guest referee. So he asked that everybody takes some cups because he wants to have a toast to make it official. And Sanjay starts pouring vodka in everybody's cup, but he takes a big swig off the bottle and then he spits it into FTR's face. And they start to put the jump on Cash. Mark Briscoe's able to pull Cash apart from the rest of the group. Dax is blinded in the corner and Mark Briscoe gets pushed into him. And Dax DDTs Mark Briscoe by accident. And they're very concerned over Mark Briscoe. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal are just yelling like, this is what you do with your friend, or you really fucked up because this is the special guest referee. But that's that. So some wedges being driven between this group of friends. Schlong, what'd you think about this segment? Did it work for you? It was a little messy for me, but I like getting to the fact that there's going to be a special guest referee because I don't really think we've seen it in AEW.
We don't. I think we've seen it once or twice, maybe if that.
Maybe
we don't
once.
see it often.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little messy, but it got the point across. What worries me here is the traditional normal wrestling story is that Mark Briscoe would turn on FTR at Double or Nothing and turn heel and cost them the match. I clearly very much hate this if that happens because I want FTR to have a... Now, AEW doesn't always necessarily, because it's almost obvious that that's what would normally happen in wrestling. I could see them just not doing that.
Right.
And being like, yeah, you thought, which would be fine. I'm not, that's my only concern. I kind of wish Kate was here because I would be pretending that I love it and that that's what I want to happen.
Sure.
But in reality, that's my only concern is that it's a very wrestling moment, especially, and FTR are old school fans. Like that to me is an old like AWA, NWA moment where, just about to happen and the guy screws him over. But we'll see. I think Mark Briscoe's hilarious on the mic. He's absolutely hilarious.
Mark Briscoe is very good in front of the crowd. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I thought certain parts like the pull apart was a little messy and the beatdown and stuff, but the point that they really needed to make, the DDT, was there, and it looked good. So we'll see where this goes next week, because clearly there's a problem now. So we'll see what happens.
And by the way, if Kate does pop in, because I think her show's wrapping up, we must come back and express that is my idea, and I am all for it. Audience, you now know.
Okay. Schlong, we go backstage again to Renee Paquette. She's very busy tonight. She's interviewing Chris Jericho. He says he takes issue with everybody being so happy that Adam Cole got the best of him, and after because he was attacked in an unprovoked attack while he was doing commentary. And Cole created an unsafe working environment, and he's a coward. So Jericho, because he's not a coward, went and got a court order that says they can't be in the same building at the same time, which I think is very funny, Schlong. It's not lost on me. We'll talk.
It's all lost on anyone.
No. But that's when Roddy Strong pulls up, and he says Adam Cole's his best friend, and he's no coward, and Roddy isn't banned from the building, so he wants Jericho in a Falls Count Anywhere match next week. And Jericho says, I accept. And he says he'll have his army behind him, so be careful what you wish for. But Roddy thought about this, and he's prepared, because he says he's also got his legal matters in order, and he got a court order of his own saying that the JAS are banned from the building next week. And that's when Chris Jericho starts furiously reading through the contract, and he says, is this official? To which Renee says, looks pretty official. And so next week it'll be Roddy Strong and Jericho in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Now, Schlong, here's my prediction. JAS are banned from the building. This has to go outside.
Clearly has to go outside. Renee's smile when Roddy's like, I too got representation.
Yes.
That's the stuff that she does that not every sideline, backstage reporter, backstage person does, where like she puts her personality into it. She does these subtle things, but it makes the moment even better, because she should react. I mean, Chris Jericho's kind of a dick, and he's getting his comeuppance, but yeah, this is going outside, or they're gonna figure something out.
That legal eagle that Jericho got his legal advice from has to be Mark Sterling, right?
He's the only lawyer in wrestling.
It's got to be Mark Sterling. That's all I'm thinking. You would think that Mark Sterling knows the loophole. So we'll see. We'll see. But Schlong, they throw it right back to Renee backstage after they sort of make that announcement. She's quick. And she's waiting outside of Tony Khan's office for Miro to come out so she can get a word with him. But somebody else rolls up. And it's Thunder Rosa. And Thunder Rosa says something to the effect of, well, I guess if everybody's, having a meeting tonight, I guess I am too. And she walks into Tony Khan's office as well. So Schlong, 2 returns tonight. We see on camera. We don't know what's coming up for them, but it looks like Thunder Rosa is back in good graces. We know that she's had another role within AEW doing like Spanish commentary and some other things that I don't think they necessarily announced when they said she was going to be taking on additional responsibilities, but it looks like she's gearing up for a return to the ring. Exciting for you? Not exciting? What are you thinking?
I'm a Thunder Rosa fan, so I'm excited. Again, gonna have two shows. Gonna have 4 hours of just that, 5 total. I want more than 2 women's matches, by the way. I don't want just, or 3. I don't want one on each show. I want multiple. So you're gonna need a division. I know. Listen, I'm gonna ignore all the backstage bullshit because I'm not there. I don't know what's actually going on. All Access isn't accurate and actually telling you what's going on. That's a show. From my opinion, in-ring wise, I think she's just a lot of fun to watch. I like her character a lot. I like what she brings in the ring. Her promos, when she's allowed to be passionate, are a lot better than when they kind of had her doing some generic baby face promos when she won the title. But yeah, I'm very excited. Now, Jesse Ozog is pointing out that he read today that she still needs surgery. Could be wrong, obviously. So wonders if she will be doing something else. Now that could have been a curveball or purposely put out there to shock us all tonight when she walks into the office. But also, I'm less excited if I'm happy for her that she's doing something. I don't think that's her best role, is as like a manager or a backstage personality right now.
Right.
But then again, if you can't wrestle because you're hurt, do whatever you got to do. I'm not going to criticize someone because they're hurt that they're taking on different roles.
Well, it is going to be interesting to see what they do with Thunder Rosa, because remember there was the whole thing with her and backstage talent not getting along and stuff like that, and she had some clear evidence that she was sandbagging some matches, right? So let's hope that those hatchets have all been buried and that maybe she's on her way back. I think they could use her in the ring. If she's not ready, get her involved some other way. And when she's ready, she'll come back. But I think this is another big sort of exciting piece tonight. We didn't think, there was no indications that we were getting any appearances by anybody we haven't seen in quite a while. So
and we got two big ones.
That's right. To see Miro for the men's division and Thunder Rosa for the women's division, very, very exciting. Very exciting. Schlong, we go to commercial and come back. We get the same type of hype reel that we did for MJF for Sammy Guevara. Should be noted too. I don't have everything about Sammy Guevara's hype reel, but Guevara did, speak about, sort of achieving his dreams and stuff like that. But also Tay spoke in his video about him, and so did Chris Jericho. Something we didn't get out of MJF. Nobody sort of coming to his side, but we did for Sammy. So pretty interesting to see that.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I don't have anything to add there, Schlong, but this is where I wanted to sort of go to the next thing sort of quickly, because this, I think, was one of my favorite moments of the night. Because commentary says that we saw a couple faces that we know having meetings with Tony Khan tonight. So why don't we hear from the man himself? And they throw it, quote unquote, backstage, but it is definitely one of those pre-recorded.
They've learned their lesson there too.
Absolutely. Pre-recorded Tony Khan message. And he talks about the great show that we have tonight. In addition to everything tonight, there are stars in the back lined up looking for chances to wrestle. And it's clearer than ever that AEW can produce more great content every week. So he's going to have a huge announcement next week. And he said, basically, stay tuned after next week's show because they're going to have more announcements to follow. Schlong, this is clearly leading to the announcement next week, which we had sort of anticipated for the Saturday show. If anybody out there has been following or anything about, the networks and stuff like that, they all have these upfronts coming up. That's usually happens in the spring, where they'll talk about sort of their upcoming slate through the year into next spring. Turner wouldn't want them to announce a Saturday show until they've had their upfront event. And I believe that's slated to happen next week, earlier in the week, or maybe even right after Dynamite, like on the Thursday or something like that. So all signs are pointing to next week clearly being the announcement for the Saturday show. But Schlong, what I wanted to say, which got texted to me and I saw in plenty of other places, was what an A+ troll job it is for Tony Khan to basically make an announcement that we have an announcement coming next week and more announcements in the future after next week. Like, just fantastic. And if he's not aware,
this was done on purpose. There's
100%.
No way you could tell me that wasn't done on purpose.
It was fantastic. I loved it that he's like, our announcement is we have an announcement next week. It's just so fucking perfect.
It like he's aware enough that he knows what he did. He's for all his whatever, he's an online guy. He grew up on message boards. He knows what the online stuff is. He has to have seen the comments and the memes and the jokes about how much he always has a special announcement. So there's no way he didn't go, I'm going to announce an announcement.
Right.
Like that's just brilliant.
It was just so perfect. I really just loved everything about it. Even though it was not an announcement, it was an announcement for an announcement. It just was perfect. And if there are people out there who are upset at that, then you just don't get what's going on, in my opinion. Like, it was perfect. Same thing as Jericho making his comments about you can't be in the same building as I am to Adam Cole. Just a fantastic troll job right there. Just so perfect. I loved it.
The less serious they take the stuff, the happier I am.
Oh, 100%. Because it's something the other guys would never do, right? They take themselves super serial, and it's nice to know these guys clearly see what's going on. Like, they're reacting to what's going on, and they make fun of it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's
love it.
Yeah. So the upfronts will be. So the weird thing is, though, the upfronts will have already happened.
They either will have happened. I don't have the exact date in front of me. They either will have just happened, or they will happen right after Wednesday. So
my guess is they will have happened because they'll probably want to announce it on the upfronts.
Let me see if we can.
So his announcement will be announcing something that's already been announced.
Let's see. Upfront 2023. We're doing research live.
Yeah, Jesse's saying that they're happening during the day before Dynamite because their upfronts is the 17th.
Yep, that's right.
No,
that's what we saw last week.
Granted, his guess is that not everyone's. Truthfully, I will not care about the Warner Brothers upfronts. So the assumption being like, hey, a lot of these people won't watch the upfronts, might not know that we have that this thing is going to be announced, or they may give him. They may not announce everything at the upfronts, and they might be like, hey, we'll let you announce this thing on, it could be like, hey, we're going to announce the new deal with you in Collision on the upfronts. You'll re-announce Collision on Dynamite, but you'll also get to announce that such and such is going to appear on streaming or something.
Right. Or even just he'll give more details about Collision on the live show. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
They'll say, oh, it's going to be a new Saturday night show called Collision. It'll be 2 hours, but TK can go into maybe some more detail.
I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm not excited for I don't really care, but they're going to get a raise one way or another, and that's just good because that just means more wrestling and more cool stuff. I don't actually care if these companies make tons of money. I don't own them. I don't get paid a piece of it, but I just want them to make money so that they keep paying wrestlers and I get to keep seeing good wrestling.
Yeah, and especially with some of the talent that they have on their roster, right? Which is, different stuff than you'll see in the other place, So they're two different products, two different styles of wrestling, so let it happen. But an announcement is coming next week. Just chef's kiss.
They'll keep announcing.
That's right. Schlong, we move on to our next match of the night. It's the Red Death, Daniel Garcia versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW International Championship. And sorry, I'm just cutting to the end. Orange Cassidy does win by pinfall with the seatbelt pin to retain his International Championship. Schlong, I'll say this about the match. It was fantastic. I think, again, people see Orange Cassidy and think one thing and maybe forget that he is so sound at wrestling that this was fantastic. Daniel Garcia too, because he's a great technical wrestler and we don't always see it in him. But the whole end of this match, the switching submissions from Garcia on Orange Cassidy is just fantastic. It just, this whole match worked for me. And Schlong, this is why I'll also say, like, this belt could have easily come off of Orange Cassidy tonight, and I would have been 100% fine with it.
Real quick, I'm sending a case in the chat because I forgot to send her the link.
I'm going to put her on a timeout.
Oh, she just got the link.
I'm still putting her on a timeout.
Seems fair.
We have the power to wield that.
We do. So she will be here in a second. It's funny because you said they don't often show that Red Death Daniel Garcia is like a technical wrestler. It feels like in a lot of ways they tried to go away from it.
Right. Well, because he's supposed to be a sports entertainer.
Yeah, and I kind of get it because it is if you want him to be a heel, it's hard to be a heel when you're that good at wrestling in this company. The fans are going to want you to be a face, so you have to stop him from doing the thing that he's really good at.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, I felt like they could have taken the belt off of Cassidy tonight and it would have been fine. Like, and it sort of maybe would have also put some of the credence back into the argument. Like, see, like, you were such a good wrestler that
they could have. I just don't think they're ready to make him face yet. I just don't think they're ready for that turn.
Yeah, and I don't know if it would have turned him face. He would have raged against the fact that he was a professional wrestler, right? He would have maybe just gone harder into the wrestling entertainer shtick. And I mean, my God, his whole entrance gear tonight was 100% sports entertainer. The crop top, the pants, the salsa dancing. I mean, just beautiful sports entertainment.
So you think he would have raged against the machine of wrestling?
Sure. Because he's a sports entertainer.
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
I waited. She was picking up her water. So, Kate, I have to, before we move on, I have to give you my favorite theory going forward now.
What's that?
That at Double or Nothing, in the FTR versus Jarrett and Jay Lethal match,
come on,
Mark Briscoe turns on FTR. He is the special guest referee.
No.
So he turns on them and gives the belts to Jarrett and Lethal. I think that's what's happening.
And that would be your favorite thing ever.
You're just like mean to me for no reason. So let's start with that. Mark Briscoe turning heel right now. Get out of town and take a bus. Never mind for a incident like that.
That is the classic wrestling move, though. Mm-hmm. Your friend is the ref. And then
Mark Briscoe is not turning heel for like a long time. I don't know what to tell you.
You would never see it coming.
Not with like his real life circumstances. They ain't doing that.
It would get a huge reaction.
It would. Oh man, the crowd would lose their minds.
Get this reaction. Turn it off.
How can you say that about your favorite tag team, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett? Big gap.
I want them. They're so good that I don't want them to win it the cheap way. Like, they just should win. They should probably realistically squash FTR.
It's very true.
So.
They are the greatest tag team in the history.
Oh.
The single.
Bar
the
none.
best.
Yeah.
They don't need, in some respects, they don't need the belts because they are that good.
I think that's what it is. I think that's why they're not going over. It's just like, they don't need it. Also, is Ryan lagging or does my internet suck?
Your internet sucks.
Oh, shocker.
You're lagging. It's funny. Yeah. It was perfect for the other one.
We don't know that.
Yeah, I wasn't watching it. I don't know.
I wasn't.
Also,
I've been here.
Since you played into the joke, It is my fear that that's what they are going to do. Legitimately is my fear.
No.
It is the most wrestling thing in the world, and FTR loves old school, and that is NWA, AWA right out the door.
No. Not with the slate of programming they have coming up. There's just no way. With Wembley coming up, I mean, unless I don't think CMFTR is happening that quick out of the gate. And they have way too much riding on All Out, All In, and Forbidden Door. Like, you can't even do that just because they've got to get to Aussie Open versus FTR. There's no way they're going to blow that.
I mean,
Let me leave and come back because my internet's dumb.
Okay.
Okay.
I was going to say, I mean, you could lead to... I mean, FTR Aussie Open would have to be New Japan. The Forbidden Door.
Doesn't need a belt.
It doesn't, but they'll put those IWGP titles on the line at Forbidden Door.
That's true, they will. That'll be...
Aussie.
Oi. You're still choppy, but it's okay.
And choppy.
Choppy.
We need to figure out how to get a Ethernet cable to your computer.
I've tried it. Doesn't help.
No?
Nope.
Who's your provider?
Optimum, baby.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Great
Samesies.
service.
God.
Yeah, so this Orange Cassidy match, Schlong, the reason I say, like, if Miro's going to be the one to challenge him, he's got to take it, is because who else do you keep putting in front of Orange Cassidy at that point? You know what I mean?
Everyone.
I mean, you could, but, like, who did he... I don't even remember. I just don't remember because he's been wrestling every week. Who wrestled him for the belt last week? I'm sure somebody in the chat even knows.
That's a good question.
But he had a match like last week.
Wasn't it Bandito?
Yes, it was Bandito. And in that match last week, I was like, oh, Bandito could 100% take this title. And, like, it would be okay. Like, it would make sense. Like, you know, they could work
to do what? Like, that's why Garcia didn't go over, right? Like, I'm kind of over the Jericho Appreciation Society stuff. It just feels really dead in the water right now. And I don't know how much juice they can get out of it with Garcia for much longer, but he's too good to not be in an important program, like in like feud, like title program or title adjacent program, on the show. And it just, at some point, it feels like every Jericho stable is holding people back instead of moving them forward. And with Garcia, we're definitely at that point. But the match was super fun, and I love Garcia. I'm just like, what are we doing with this extremely skilled wrestler right now? Like,
right.
If he was going to win the title, cool, but... And then is Jericho getting jealous to break it up? Or are they leaning into it because someone now in the Jericho Appreciation Society has gold? Are people jealous of that? Like, but I agree. If it's not Miro to dethrone Orange Cassidy, which I think it should be, and I think he should just like swat him out of the air. I think Ethan Page might be a nice shout for that title. Or somebody that's going to be crossing over to New Japan and representing it more internationally. But it feels like Miro would be the next move, though. I'm wondering if he's going to be on Collision. Not that the international title couldn't go there. It probably should, but very interesting developments today.
I mean, if Garcia did take the belt off Cassidy tonight, they could have easily figured out how to work that into an implosion of the Jericho Society, right? Because he could have been like, I'm better than this. I have gold, and I did it by myself.
I would like it to be more of a story if that's the case. Like, if it's going to be the implosion of a stable that you've told us is that important, there should be more hype going into the match so that it feels like indicative that it's going to have some emphasis behind it instead of just like a title defense that somebody won.
I actually think the story should be the fact that the Jericho Appreciation Society does not have gold.
That's fine too, but they didn't tell any of that. So
no, not yet.
Well, either way, it was a fantastic match. A
Orange
really good
can
match.
wrestle.
Yeah. Orange can wrestle. And it's funny that every time he does wrestle, commentary is like, for those of you who might not think this guy can wrestle, like, he can wrestle. It's like, yeah, he's fucking wrestled every
At
week.
this point, we know because he's had a match of the year candidate with Will Ospreay, and he's just put on banger after banger every week. Like, you don't even need to point it out anymore. He's just this good.
Yeah, that's I feel like been the point of the title reign almost, you know.
Yeah.
Well, he is beaten and battered, so if we do get Miro at some point, you know, it would make sense that he just demolishes Orange Cassidy, who's just been wrestling on a regular basis. But moving on, we get a video package, dueling promos between Team DMD and the Outcasts, who look like they're going to have a match. Yes, that's right, Team DMD. I'm going the wrong way. So it's going to be a 3-on-3 match, the Outcasts versus Team DMD and Shida, I think her name is.
Hikaru
Shida?
nailed it.
Was on EW this week.
She was. Good shit.
I've fallen off of EW and Being the Elite, and I've got to pick them both back up.
Definitely got to pick up EW. It's every week's hilarious.
Well, now that I commute fucking an hour on the train every day, I have no excuse. So I should.
If you're back, your podcast will pick back up. Your.
I have one podcast that I listen to regularly. It's this one when I'm on it. That's it.
Fair enough.
Just when I'm on it at 10:15. I don't go back and re-listen. There are no notes.
I definitely don't go back and re-listen to myself ever.
No. And when I'm not on it, why do I even listen? There's no reason.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
We've all got
You
our
are a
favorites. We've all got our favorites. AntMoney's my favorite. So when he's not on, what do I need to check it out for? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's just like all the Matt Millionaire Matt fans out there. They don't check us out when he's not here.
I don't even know that guy.
There was a clear trend though. Whenever Matt appeared, the fucking numbers would be like this, and then when Matt
he's
wasn't
always
here,
showing his tatas.
That's true. He does have some nice titties.
He's not afraid to bust them out.
No, he's not.
He's clearly not.
Poor Matt, hospital hell week.
It's true. He's not in the hospital. The pizza truck's at the hospital.
He's with the pizza truck. Guys, we get Christian Cage and Luchasaurus making their entrance to the ring. Schiavone is there to talk to them about the AEW championship, or the TNT championship, excuse me. And he says he's the number one contender because he's Christian Cage, and his laundry list of accomplishments lets him walk into the boss's office and demand the title shot. And much like his previous opponent, Wardlow also had a father, but he's not going to go down that path because, let's face it, Wardlow's dad wasn't famous and nobody cares, so why waste his breath? And instead, he goes after Arn Anderson, Wardlow's wrestling dad, who's abandoned his own son, Brock Anderson. He calls him Ric Flair's lapdog and says, you know, that makes you a legend, I guess. You know, how many times did Arn win a world title? Well, Christian is a multi-time world champion. So he says, by the way, Detroit sucks. I'm out or whatever. And then he leaves. Guys, what I can say about Christian is that he knows how to draw such nuclear heat wherever he goes. And it's so effortless. It's just because he acts like a dick and he's basically like, hey, peon, shut your mouth. You smell. And that's it. He can say the same thing everywhere he goes and he gets a great response. Just the way he ended. He's like, by the way, Detroit sucks. And then just like mic drop out.
He got crazy heat tonight though. Like I could barely hear the promo. I messaged one of my friends because I was like, is there some, he's like a big Edge and Christian guy. I was like, is there some significance of Christian in Detroit that I don't know? Like, because I wasn't watching kind of in his heyday. Was there a match that I didn't know about? And they were like, no, I think he just is getting massive heat. And I was like, good for him. And I mean, there were FU chants, there were Edge's better chants, like all just while he was talking. And there were a couple moments where he was smirking because you could tell he was loving what he was getting. And it made me happy. Like I love when Gap Zaddy Christian is in his element like this. The Arn digs I thought were so fantastic because everybody thinks like Tully and Arn. Think of the Four Horsemen. Think of that whole era. For him to call him Ric Flair's lapdog was so great.
Yeah.
Circling back to Jungle Boy's dead dad for no reason other than he was great. Really, really fun, but like I had to listen so closely because he was just getting his ass so booed. I was kind of blown away by because he didn't say anything particularly insane, and it was from the second he walked out to the second he was done. Really, really, really fun stuff.
Yeah, he's just so good at this character. And he can, and what's great is that he just lays into like, my resume speaks for itself. Thank you. And then just like, you suck and this city smells, so I'm gonna leave now. Like, it's just perfect. It's perfect for this character. And I agree with you, this stuff about Wardlow's dad not being famous, just digging at Jungle Boy, who's in the main event title picture, and also Wardlow at the same time, is just a stroke of genius. Just fantastic.
Textbook heel stuff. So good.
Schlong, I assume you hated this because it was mean.
It was very mean. I do love that he screwed up saying literally. And a lot of times when wrestlers screw up saying the word, they rush to fix it so that like it never happened. And instead, he let the crowd make fun of him for it. Like he stopped and he let them react. And it made it all the better because I think that's part of what amped him up into the heat he got, was that he let them get worked up over a mistake and he just let it go. And it makes more sense than to being like, literally, like, let it breathe. He's just very good at this. He knows what he's doing. He is excellent. I mean, I wonder what he would be doing if he hadn't gotten injured for all that time, because he was on a roll leading into that, and now he's on a roll again.
Yeah.
His promos are some of the best.
He's just really good, man. He's been doing this for a while. He knows what's up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when their title match is going to happen at Double or Nothing. So we'll see. Zaddy Christian, good on the mic, good in his fashion, good in the ring. Guys, we also get a hype reel for Darby Allin, much like we did earlier for Sammy Guevara and MJF. Another thing to note here, without touching on everything, but love that they showed Darby Allin his tiny dog, which got the result the reaction from Mrs. Money. She said, "Look at his dog," and I missed it. But showed his dog, showed him with his dad, showed him sort of skating and doing all this crazy shit. And then had Sting speak on his behalf. So again, if we're just keeping track here, Sammy Guevara's support system spoke about him. Sting, or Darby's support system, spoke for him. And it was, who was it?
It's Sting!
That's what I thought. I couldn't remember. Thank you. But no support system for MJF, because he's a son of a bitch. So
nobody
didn't have anything else. That's right. Didn't have anything else to add about that. Just want to call attention. No support for MJF. A lot of support for the other people. We've got one more to go. Moving on to the next match, we had Anna Jay and Julia Hart in a no DQ, no holds barred match. We see Julia Hart win by submission here with the Heartless Lock. Guys, I'll be honest here. I thought this match I thought it was shitty, if I'm being honest. Didn't love it. Julia clearly looked rattled after a few things, and I don't know. I just didn't love it. It just didn't seem cohesive. And it seemed like at the end of it, the commentary team, to me, was just really trying to pump up how good this match was. And it's like, man, you're To me, it was like you're trying to polish a turd right now. Like this wasn't that good. Like somebody was like, they left it all in the ring. I'm like, it wasn't compared to some of the other shit we've seen the ladies do. This just didn't have the same cachet to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Convince me I'm wrong. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I kind of liked it. I understand where you're coming from, but I think my expectations were also just not too high, just because Julia Hart is so green. Like she's so new at this still. But what I did love was the introductions. God, that theme and the presentation for Julia Hart, and then Anna Jay jumping her immediately to me was like such a sweet cross section of what they both do best. It wasn't like the cleanest match for sure, but at the same time, I think like the leaving it all on the floor thing was more a reaction to like they got every ounce of juice that they could out of the stipulation of the match. I think there's still definitely stuff that like I think Anna Jay needs to continue to get reps, because when there's a really big difference pretty much in every wrestler, but I've noticed with Anna Jay, the more consistent work she gets, she's incredibly fluid. And then when she's start and stop, like it just gets like a little bit rusty. And Julia Hart just needs time. Like her kickouts didn't look great in this.
No.
This was definitely like the most physical match of her career. But from a character standpoint and from a utilization of everything that they were given standpoint, I thought it was pretty good. Definitely not my favorite in the style of these matches, but I kind of wasn't expecting it to be. But I can understand where you were coming from. Like the pacing definitely fell off here, but I liked that they did it, and I think I'm just so trying to root for the women's division on now that we're seeing effort in these ways. Like this was a blow-off match of a story that they developed, and a year ago we weren't even close to any of that. So like I'm probably a little bit sweeter on it than maybe I should be, but I just appreciate that like this had nothing to do with the Outcasts, but it was a blow-off and on television and things like that. So if I'm looking at it from a completely objective point of view, it probably wasn't that great, but I did appreciate a lot about what was trying to be done here. And God, the Julia Hart presentation is great. So I hope her in-ring catches up, because her coming down with that music and looking up is just like, what a powerful moment that they create with her.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I don't have a problem with pretty much everything you said about the character and even like the story build and sort of this little feud and the blow off. I don't have a problem with any of that. It was literally just the quality of this match.
Sure. Very
just
fair.
Really, to me, wasn't there. Like you said, the kickouts weren't there. That final chair suplex missed completely.
Yeah, that was rough.
You know, and commentary's trying to pump it up like, oh, her lower half. It's like, yeah, her foot, like, you know, hit a chair.
They always do that though. Like Nigel McGuinness does that in ROH.
I know they do, and they're just trying to do their job. I get it, but like,
it was a big gap to close. I get you.
A huge gap, you know. So that was just, to me, why this didn't do anything for me. Love the character, love the presentation, love the fact that they're building stories and paying them off. Like, I love all that. But the letdown was the quality of this match. That was it. That was it. Schlong, what did you think?
It's gonna shock you.
You loved it?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
No way.
Listen, was it the most high quality match of all time? Yes. This is going down as the greatest that has ever happened.
You can have your Eddies and Rays. You can have your Brett versus Owen. You can have your Undertaker and Shawn Michaels at Mania. You can have your Kenny and Danielsons. For Ryan, it's Julia Hart and Anna Jay on a random Dynamite.
In the history of wrestling matches, most people may say the best match of all time in all of professional wrestling is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage. For Schlong, Julia Hart and Anna Jay Ass.
Someone has to have taste. I guess it's me.
Okay.
Realistically, no. It is not the Matt Classic that these others would be. But I was bought into the story and didn't need it to be
the classic that, like, say we saw. I don't even know if we call it classic, but the level of match that we saw later on. I just need to enjoy the story and what they're telling, and I bought into how much these two were angry at each other. I bought into the distaste. I bought into the violence. I bought into all of it, so I could forgive some of the mistakes that happened, and that just made it enjoyable to me. That I just could buy into everything that they were telling me, and that I'm pretty good. Like you said, the in the Ray Phoenix Claudio match when Ray missed the kick, yeah, those type of botches are hard to get around because it's whatever. But at least when like the suplex misses the chair, well, it's still a suplex, so there's still damage going on. I can forgive that kind of stuff a lot easier because as long as you're not faking, well, if you're not trying to pretend that you hit, a chair hit you when it clearly missed, well, that sucks. But if you can at least sell that you hit the floor, everybody's happy. So I enjoyed it. I mean, again, it's all about the story to me, and I really liked the story they were telling here. And I hope they do more stuff like this, where they tell these stories that have, like Kate said, nothing to do with the Outcast. It's just two on their own. Tell more like this, and it was kind of built up organically over time. There was, the one interaction, and they ran from it with there, and ran with it, I should say, and that's what I want. So I don't need a perfect match. I just need to enjoy what I'm seeing, and I enjoyed it.
And commentary did do a good job of recalling their history too. Like they used to be friends, and now they're enemies. Like, so they did a good job with a lot of parts of this. But again, the quality to me was just not there.
This match did make me think about how badly they need the TBS title to be a workhorse title, and that I really hope it's Cassette, because we are not getting title defenses from Jamie Hayter, which is fine.
She's your champ. She shouldn't have to defend her title on a reg.
Right. But like, if we're getting Collision, and there's going to be people like me and a lot of other people that are saying, what you going to do with the women over there? Hopefully a tag division. But like, you need one of the two titles to be defended on a more, I think, frequent cadence for women's wrestling to feel important on your program. So I really hope that it's Chris Statlander that dethrones Jade, because a Chris Statlander workhorse title reign is something I am extremely interested in.
Yeah,
Especially
100%.
if you saw how jacked she was on social media in her last post. She could not keep her shirt on in her arms. Are you kidding me? You see the picture?
No, but I'm going to go look for it. Ooh, baby.
Well, very similar to me, Ant. Very similar.
Very
jacked
similar.
beyond
Yeah.
belief.
Just like
Okay, I see.
XXL shirts because of the muscles.
I get you. I get you. By the way, when I say some people say the greatest match in the history of wrestling is Ricky Steamboat Macho Man, I really mean me.
Yeah, I figured that you were some people.
And his people.
I'm one of those people. I am a person. Guys, Renee Paquette is backstage interviewing the best friends about their trio's title match. Orange Cassidy thinks he's got enough room in his backpack for 3 more belts, and Trent is really enthusiastic about all the prospects. Chuck Taylor is then prompted to pick the final rule. So let's not forget, this is under the open house rules, the new rules set forth by the House of Black. It's 20 count on the outside, no rope breaks, disqualification is enforced, and then there is a dealer's choice where the opposing team gets to call out a stipulation, a final stipulation for the match. So Chuck Taylor is prompted to pick the rule, but he said, you didn't tell me what we were picking. So they settle on all witches are banned from ringside. And then the best amigos make their entrance and they go to a little break. Now here's one thing. I love the comedy in this, but from a logical standpoint, why would you ban Julia Hart from ringside? She just had a brutal match. She's not going to be at ringside.
Well, because she's real mean. They said it.
I guess. I'm just like, pick a better stipulation. This is the first one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's the best friends and they forgot. So I kind of like that.
It's true.
But also, if she's an evil witch goddess, she doesn't have to like physically interfere, right? Like they
Mhm.
haven't seen her use magic powers, but they have seen her use the mist. So it's like she could have had an ass kicking match, but still come down and spit mist in your face.
I guess.
Right. I'm
Anyway.
gonna do this Chris Statlander video of her just being fucking jacked so that we can play it.
What are you doing?
At
Where
your
is it?
leisure. I sent it to the Mark Order DMs. It's like impressively swole.
I could pull it up. Before we get there, let's look at the DMs. You could slide up in the DMs.
I'm already there, and I got it.
Slide up in the DMs. You could also slide up into our link tree to request free stickers.
We've already done it. Don't.
The segue was there. I couldn't let it go.
I know.
Person in the world, but I put this top on, and I just
look at how busted out of her
Yeah.
shirt she is.
I don't know.
She looks great.
I feel too big.
This is
I'm
so
not
funny.
saying I'm the most jacked.
No, you look great, Chris Stat.
But you're not going to play the part where she holds up her small dog and goes, "This is a full-grown Great Dane."
But I put this top on, and I just
That was the whole video, Kate.
Oh, it was? Someone cut it
Yes.
off. Okay. The next thing she says, she's like, "I think I'm
I don't
too
know.
small," and she picks
Feel
up her
too big.
medium-sized dog and goes, "This is a full-size Great Dane."
Fantastic. So anyway, we go to the Best Amigos, Bandito, Chuck, and Trent versus the House of Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black. So guys, what I did like about this is the special presentation for this match. The dark crowd, the light only on the ring, not even like a regular light. It's almost like a blue hue. And then the like sparkly fire embers around the whole, arena on the LEDs as well as the main screen. I thought that was a nice way to separate this. But just cutting to the end of this match, the House of Black do win by pinfall with Dante's Inferno from Brody King on Chuck Taylor to retain the Trios Championship. So they retain. And Orange Cassidy was backstage watching this, and I forgot to mention that as the Best Amigos were leaving before this match started, Renee did ask Orange Cassidy, I don't remember what she asked him, but he goes, "I'm tired, Renee.
I'm so tired.
So tired." So anyway, they cut back to backstage after this match, and we see that Orange Cassidy has been beaten down. And they pan up to show Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open standing over him, holding up his titles, and he says, "Aussie, Aussie, Aussie, oi, oi, oi." So it looks like we're maybe going to get a Kyle Fletcher. We are going to get a Kyle Fletcher Orange Cassidy match, which should rock.
I don't know how you felt, Ant and Ryan, but seeing Aussie Open live, particularly Kyle Fletcher, was like a different level of awesome for them. Like, I love them on TV, but live, they're just one of those acts that you're just like, damn, you're cool live.
Yes. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we even said that, Kate, on the episode we did after the road trip.
Yeah, I think so. Recapping.
I think we said if you haven't been able to see Aussie Open live and you can see Aussie Open live, take that opportunity.
And do see Aussie Open live.
Boom. Ryan knows. House of Black retains under their new rules. What did we think? Ryan, let's go to you first, because usually you hate stuff. But what did you think of this match, as well as like this new sort of presentation in the whole rules, open house rules?
It looked awesome. When you do it, it's different for them, which is cool. I wouldn't like every match like this, but to do it special for them makes it look really awesome. And unlike some other places that have chosen some lighting setups for their people, just having a giant spotlight on the ring works because visually it still looks good. You're not struggling to look through red or green screen. The match was great. You had 6 awesome wrestlers going at it. There's not much you can say. Obviously, you knew who was going to win. Bandito as a throw-in character to the Best Friends. They were not taking it. but it gave them a chance to show up. And Buddy Matthews is, oh boy, he's. I want to see more House of Black in this trios, but when they're done, he needs a singles run because he is just incredible. He delivers things with like perfect timing.
Yeah, his singles match with Orange Cassidy for the international title was really fantastic.
I think it's almost like how Kyle O'Reilly was right before he got injured, where he's starting to have those like breakout moments. I think I've even made that comparison before, but it just reconnected again in my ADD head. But like one of those guys who've always been like, oh, that guy's really good. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I also think there's fun stories to be told with this of people having to face all three of them. That I think could be really, really fun because they're all three are so different. But Bud Matt is just having some really, really breakout performances in this. I'm so glad they gave him this ring stipulation thing. I love that it defaults to the challenger. That's such like a flex that I love. Loved
Right.
the lighting. Looked very cool. But it's taken so long for them to get into something that feels like it's heading toward a story that using this device, I think, is a super interesting way to kick off like what really feels like getting their reign underway. I love it. I'm so excited. I think Best Friends were a perfect Best Amigos were a great challenger out the gate because they don't lose anything by losing here. And it let House of Black look as dominant as I think you wanted them to in the first go at something like this. And I'm just intrigued because I think they could do a lot with this. It doesn't always have to be a dramatic stipulation. There could be ones that are no stipulation, but there's fun ways to build story with this world that they've created. And the trios titles already feel so special that adding this extra layer on top of that is really, really fun.
Yeah. And, like, I'm even for like the stipulation being something that we don't see like as a normal stipulation, right? Like maybe, a stipulation would be like, well, chairs are legal, you know what I mean? Or something stupid like that. But like, even if somebody were like no close fist punches, you know what I mean? Like that's a totally different style of match, almost like a pure match.
Unlimited open mouth kisses.
That would be fantastic. Crotch grabs. 100%.
Wiener tugs.
Whoa, now we're starting to train into uncharted territories, but I don't hate it.
Consensual ones and all, but I'm just saying.
It's gotta be. You're in a fight.
You're asking for unique stipulations. I'm delivering them.
That's it. That's the one. And I like it. I don't mind it. All right, moving on from this, we get hype reel for Jungle Boy, just like we did the other pillars. And again, just interesting to note, Jungle Boy has somebody speaking on his behalf, even though it is somebody, it is Christian, somebody who is no longer on his side. Christian has nothing but glowing things to say about Jungle Man Jack Perry. So again, just keeping track here, Jungle Boy, support system at one point, who speaks on his behalf. We have Darby Allin, support system, speaks on his behalf. Sammy, support system, speaks on his behalf. MJF, no support. Nobody loves MJF.
I wish there wasn't such like division between the two because it would be so funny if MJF did like a dumb AI like Cody Rhodes speaking on his behalf thing, but it's clearly MJF's voice. They might be able to get away with that anyway, but it would be so great if it was just like MJF's so great, whatever. It's like obviously Max's voice. It would be so much fun.
Yeah, he would just do something completely stupid. Yeah. But yeah, so we have this 4 pillars hype up. So none of them appearing live tonight. That's totally fine. Let's give them a little break because they'll probably pick it up within, next week and the week after, because then we're basically at the pay-per-view. It's crazy how quick this snuck up on us. Even Mrs. Money Tonight was like, oh, that's coming up. I'm like, yeah, like 2 weeks. Like, it's wild. So Double or Nothing's coming. They also hyped up the cards for next week, the next week of shows, we did find out that we were getting Absolute Ricky Starks versus Jay White.
Yeah, Switchblade Jay White.
Who?
Switchblade Jay White.
Oh, god damn it!
Too slow.
Take it from the top. Yeah, it's Ricky Starks versus Switchblade Jay White. I feel like you're supposed to hit it after I say Switchblade.
Yeah, but you didn't pause.
You just got.
So yeah, we're getting Ricky Starks against Switchblade Jay White.
There it
Nailed
is.
It.
We're getting the timing. So that should be a fun match. They announced a bunch of other stuff, but I don't remember what it is. So we're just gonna keep going. And now they start to lower the cage, and we go to break. So when they get back, we have the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club brawl on the floor before the match even begins. The Bucks take Wheeler Yuta out, throwing him off the stage. Danielson gets up from commentary because he had joined commentary and stalks after them, but Claudio Castagnoli takes them out and throws Matt Jackson off the stage. Nick Jackson gets in Danielson's face. Brian warns him to go pay attention to his brother and dives on Claudio and Matt, or I'm sorry, Nick dives on Claudio and Wheeler as security tries to pull everybody apart. We finally get to the match. Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega in the steel cage match. My goodness, what a match.
This fucked.
Now, we're going to jump to the end here, and then we can talk about it all. Jon Moxley wins by pinfall. It should be noted, though, that we get there because Don Callis is able to get involved here, right? Kenny Omega, or Moxley, you're right. Hold on. I'll get there. Moxley has his screwdriver, and this is when Don Callis gets involved. He climbs into the cage and takes it away. And then Kenny, by God, Omega, is able to hit a ripcord knee, one-winged angel. You guys know nobody kicks out of the one-winged angel. 1, 2, what the fuck? Don Callis spikes fucking Kenny with the screwdriver to break up the pin. Moxley wins. Paul Turner, after the match, is trying to get Don Callis to leave, but he stands there and looks down at the wound he put in Kenny Omega's forehead. Kenny's on his knees. Don grabs him, holding the screwdriver high, but he can't drive it home for a second time. So he grabs Omega's head, says something to him, then kisses him on the forehead, shoving him down to the mat. That is the show. We don't know what was said to Kenny. We don't know what is driving, Callis to turn on him. We know that he was pointing as the fans were sort of yelling at him from the crowd. He's pointing to his head. I don't know if he's pointing to the scar or if he's saying, I'm the smartest guy in the room. All I know is I was fucking shocked. I didn't see this coming at all.
Really?
Didn't see it. Not turning here.
Okay. I guess I'm just smarter than you.
I just thought if he's going to turn, he was going to do it on a bigger stage at maybe the pay-per-view.
I just felt like with the steel cage and this feeling like such an important match, even though it was on free TV and right before upfronts, figure the turn was coming here, and the pointing to the head thing. You know how they say like an eye for an eye? It's like a head for a head.
But he didn't give him the head scar.
But he kind of it's because of him and his friends that he got it.
All I can tell you guys is everybody wants head. And everybody needs...
Everybody wants head.
Head. According to Al Snow, that is.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I'm with Ryan. Like, if that's somehow how they're spinning this, like, it's because of my association with you that I got this. It's sort of like, to me, it's not that it's weak, but it's sort of like, come on, Don, you're smarter than that. You know what I mean?
And you're
Like,
still being friendly with the people that actually did it.
right.
Well, let's wait to hear what he has to say, because Kenny Omega also did go on to just wrestle a match with Jeff Cobb right after that. Didn't really check in on his old friend Donnie, but I'm sure it'll be more than that. I'm sure it's going to be, there's too much meat on the bone for that to be the only reason. Like, it's such an extensive story. They have a father-son relationship. Like, I don't think they'll boil it down to something that basic. But I loved the match. I loved the pre-match shenanigans. Nick Jackson just being like, fine, I'll go over there and I'll do a crossbody off the stage. Fuck you guys. I'm going home. It was so great. John Moxley just has such innovative offense in matches like this. Like, he's always doing creative stuff with weapons that you don't generally see that makes you react either cringing or with emotion or whatever. Kenny was great. I love that they're on opposite sides of the heel and face spectrum than the last time that they met. I thought that was really great. And the ending was perfect. I love that the one-winged angel is still protected, but not. Like, the idea that no one's ever kicked out of it still, but now somebody has gotten a win after it's happened, I think is perfect. I really, really liked this. It's so interesting. Seeing Claudio win earlier, too, for that tag title shot made me think of, like, who's his opponent going to be. Could very easily be Wheeler Yuta, but it could also be Takeshita. Because give me Claudio and Takeshita versus the
Oh, see, I see Wheeler and Takeshita.
But Claudio won tonight to secure for him.
But at the end of the match, I don't know if it was Excalibur or Tony said, but what configuration of the Blackpool Combat Club?
Oh, interesting. Okay. Could be the two of them. It's kind of weird that the world champion would also get a title shot. I would prefer it be Claudio and Takeshita just because their one-on-one match was so incredible. But, like, I think this whole storyline also opens up alleys, A, for Hangman Page to come back in and reunite with the Elite if he wants, and B, for Takeshita to get involved on either side of this coin. Could be extremely fun. But what a compelling story, and what a great... I did feel like it was happening tonight, just gut instinct, nothing more than that. But it's just such a perfect button on a great story for this piece of it. And I'm so intrigued to see where this turn goes. I'm also just so happy that Kenny is healthy right now. Because, like,
yeah,
I was thinking about not just the exploding barbed wire death match, but the match that they had where Kenny went through the glass table and they were ripping up, like, the canvas in the outside of the ring to expose the ground, and Kenny was taking bumps on it. I was like, that guy needed like 5 surgeries at that point. This is insane. So
yeah,
happy he's healthy and gets to be able to do it in the condition that he's in. But this main event could have been a pay-per-view main event, and I would not have been mad. Like, this was perfectly done. I love that it didn't take up a ton of time either, because it just felt like they were balls to the wall for the entire 15 minutes or whatever that it was that they were in there. So I think this was an absolute home run, a super interesting way to go home. And just, like, this whole episode being so strong going into upfronts is such a great thing, because there's so much healthy, like, oh my God, Miro's back. Oh my gosh, did you see the end of this? What's Collision going to be? Like, they created a lot of buzz going into what's going to be a very important next, I think it's May 17th,
yes.
Which is going to be very, very, very interesting to see what comes out of that. So very excited, very healthy episode for AEW and for just the wrestling industry right now. It's a good thing.
Schlong, this match, what'd you think?
I could watch the V-Trigger knocking over the cage over and over and over and over again. That was incredible. And knowing they didn't get hurt. Obviously, that's the big caveat, because I was worried at first, being like, holy shit.
Me too. I was like, there go his ligaments.
That is so innovative. I've never seen that before. It just made the whole thing great. Danielson on commentary is hilarious. He gets it. I like that they got the shenanigans.
I was gonna say, and his reaction at the end was fantastic.
Yeah, he almost seems surprised.
Yeah, it's like you don't, but it's almost like, and they even said to him, well, you probably knew what was going on, and he didn't really give anything up. So it's like, was he surprised? Did he know? I don't know.
Yeah, like to me, it almost seems like Don didn't tell them, and he just did that on his own. But either way, big fan of him on commentary. I prefer. I try not to be like, oh, I prefer the way AEW does things over WWE because we're an AEW podcast. But I do prefer AEW's cage matches over WWE's because the whole point is being in the cage. This ends in a pinfall. Even when they broke the cage, I had a moment where I forgot which company I was watching. And they did the V trigger that took over the cage wall. And I'm like, oh, so that's how they end this match? And then remember,
he was going to escape the cage that way. Yeah.
And then I remember, oh, that doesn't matter in this company. They actually used the cage for what it was originally designed for, which is no interference, which is also why I like that the shenanigans didn't happen during the match. They happened after, so that it kept the cage protected as like, this is the zone of no interference. And the only reason Don Callis got into the ring is because they knocked down a wall.
And a rope was taken down.
Yeah.
Yeah, ropes that he used, like in the match. Like, just.
Oh, God, no.
Every ounce of this was so perfectly. Every ounce of the story was perfectly told here. Like, it was so much fun. And I'm just so intrigued to see where it goes. Because there's so many things they could do with it.
Yeah,
I
love the story.
All I could tell you is the way they're building this to the pay-per-view, this feud specifically has been fantastic because we still don't know what we're getting, right? Like are we getting a 4-on-4 and who's going to be the fourth, right? Is it going to be Hangman? That's what all signs would point to. Do we get a shocking return from Ibushi? Like, that's still out there. He's not signed anywhere. The rumors were that him and Kenny were talking about, more than what they normally do. And like, how's your shoulder? How's your knee? All that kind of stuff. Like, there's so many ways they could go with this. And there's still so many questions, but it's all intriguing, and that's all you can want.
This is now the best story in wrestling. Since the Bloodline story in WWE has kind of played itself out for right now until they fix it. This has become the best story in wrestling. This is the one I'm the most interested in.
Well, we got 2 more weeks before we figure out how this sort of either wraps up or goes to the next level at the pay-per-view.
Until the Darks disappeared, because otherwise his favorite story would have been on Dark. It would have been something that was like these 2 people who are never on TV.
Kate, you invoked it.
Of matches.
Why would you say the names that shouldn't be said anymore?
I'm sorry.
You know how he is.
I just figured he was still grieving after we got the funeral last week. I didn't think it was already like...
Who the fuck do you think you are to bring up those shows?
Who told you it was open mic fight? That's what I want to know.
Well, listen. Ryan is clearly moving on in his stages of grief. He had the shock.
He's anger.
Early on. Sorry, everything froze, and all I had was Ryan basically like this. So he went through shock. He went through denial, clearly. Now he's in anger.
I thought the grief system was the dentist system. Is that wrong?
I'll never get to acceptance. No.
Listen.
That's how I get ladies.
Detach emotionally, right?
Yeah, the dentist system, we've gone through this before, but we can do it again because we should all be reminded of the signs to look out for with the dentist system.
Of course.
The dentist system is to demonstrate value,
Those are value.
Engage physically, nurture dependence, neglect emotionally, inspire hope, and separate entirely.
Beautiful.
Entirely.
It's beautiful.
So yes, not quite the 7 stages of grief. For those keeping track, anger is the 3rd. So pretty soon Ryan will be moving on to the next 4, which would be bargaining. Yes, next.
I want to point out that Jesse has just given me a great idea on what a tweet I will be sending to Tony Khan.
I just want to point out that Jesse Ozog is literally a Shakespeare professor and knows the dentist system and bargaining.
Yeah, absolutely. Bargaining followed by depression, acceptance and hope, and then Ryan will finally be able to process his grief.
I don't think I'll ever be able to accept it.
That's what you say now. But
I'll find
eventually you get there, Ryan. Eventually
It'll
you'll
probably
get
be ROH.
Probably.
Not the same.
I know, buddy. I know.
I know, buddy. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Okay, are we all good? We're good now?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Just because I didn't get to talk about it with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Miro's back.
Yep.
Thunder Rose is back.
Yep.
They're going into Tony Khan's office.
Yep.
We think this is leading toward Collision, right?
Ryan and I, shockingly, Kate, because you weren't here for the discussion, Ryan and I both were just like, whatever.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think this is setting up them going to Collision. I don't think they're going to do this, but I also had a fun idea of a CM Punk, Miro, Thunder Rosa, champions that got fucked over stable coming out of that as like a really, really fun thing. But I think by tomorrow afternoon, people are, if they choose to, are going to know who CM Punk is going to be feuding with. And I think it's not going to be something like that.
It's gonna be me.
It's gonna be Ryan. CM Punk and Ryan. CM Punk just cutting promos and Ryan singing songs and doing bits.
He wouldn't know how to handle me. He wouldn't, because he'd be so serious and I'd be so silly.
I think he would just be like, I can't work with this guy.
He's
and probably,
like besties
probably
with
have a
Danhausen. I think he knows how to work silly.
He might have a backstage brawl with you if you're not careful. Just be careful.
Be careful.
I could take him.
Watch your back.
Go for the knees.
At least Ace won't be there, so you won't get bitten. Right? No?
Yeah. But
Maybe.
I like.
What if Larry is? You never know.
I'll bring a dog. We did. I was very excited for Miro. That's where I proposed the Orange Cassidy thing.
So you proposed to Orange Cassidy? Oh.
I wish. Oh man. But Miro's international. Miro could be like, I should be an international champ. I'm an international talent. It's perfect. I'm so happy he's back. And we talked about this for a while. This is, if you're gonna have 5 hours of TV, you have to use way more talent than they currently are. So I'm glad to see that's kind of already starting. Oh no, but I'm glad to see it's already starting. Like they're already bringing people back to be like, okay, we know in June is apparently when this is all launching. It's been out reported by like 6 different people now that it's nice to know that they're starting to, put stuff out there now. So that it's not just like June, whatever hits, and all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, now we need to start doing things.
Yes. And I think with as much as they have coming up with All In, All Out, Wembley, Double or Nothing, Forbidden Door, all of the pay-per-views. Yeah. They need a clear and consistent plan. So I'm so excited. It's going to be so healthy for a roster that deserves more TV time. I'm pumped.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Some news and notes. Kate, you're not part of this group, but there are a lot of fans. No, you're not a part of the group that I'm going to mention here.
Oh, okay.
But there are a lot of people out there who are wondering why TK is giving so much screen time to Jeff Jarrett. You're not one of them because you love him.
Because he's the motherfucking GOAT.
That's That's right. He's the GOAT. He's the last outlaw. It all makes sense. But just so you know,
Outlaw nickname.
What's that?
Nothing to do with Jarrett. I just really love the Last Outlaw nickname. I think it's a great nickname.
It's perfect for Jeff Jarrett.
Well,
He's
Jeff
got that-
Jarrett's perfect.
Oh, all right. You're right. I'm sorry. Well, Jeff Jarrett weighed in on this himself. He did an interview with Good Karma Wrestling and was asked why he deserves so much time on AEW television. And his response was, quote, emotional connection with the audience. It's just that simple. All you have to do is listen to the people in the arena. They love me. There's some kind of F.U. Jarrett that they get going on, but I think it's a term of endearment. They absolutely love it, but it's the emotional connection that will never go away. The moves will continue to get more and more aggressive and more athletic. That's just the nature of the beast. It's truly, I don't use this word lightly, but revolutionary. But at the end of the day, the emotional connection with the audience existed 70 years ago, and it's going to exist 70 years from now. That's what entertainment is all about. It's all about connecting with your audience. So,
Free woo. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
So I'm going to spoil who's Punk's first opponent. It's clearly Marco Stunt.
Has to be.
Just blowing scoops over there.
So I'm starting Ryan Select for $4 a month.
The best
And
bargain in wrestling. For you
best
to
bargain
say
in
everything is Marco Stunt based.
One that's literally all my scoops.
It's just it.
I did it tonight to Matt, and I'll continue doing it forward.
That's what's up. Matt stopped by? Oh, God damn it.
No, I did it in the text.
Oh. I was like, I thought he was in Hospital Pizza Truck Hill.
No, when I wasn't sure if I could spoil the Miro thing, I just said I can't believe that Switchblade lost to Marco Stunt and Marco Stunt's return.
True.
I wish we had footage of when Matt couldn't handle seeing Switchblade. Wish we had taped.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the fun of just living in the moment, right? We don't have to fucking videotape everything. Like the
But that would have been fun to videotape.
That would have. But like, you go to concerts now and I'm watching the show through people's fucking cell phones. It's terrible.
That is the worst. Or there was a guy literally filming. I was at a Sixers game. It was probably like 2-3 years ago. It was before COVID, so like 2019. He literally filmed the entire game with his phone raised. I'm like, 1, you're blocking my view. 2, it's on TV.
Yeah, you're never going to go back and watch that whole video.
No.
Never.
We sound really old.
Damn it. Asian Joe just did it better. Shouldn't it be Schlong Select where you come for the loads of news scoops? God damn it, Asian Joe. That was way better.
Asian Joe, we're going to hit you up for a writing gig as long as you're not part of, as long as you'll write and you won't cross scab lines. So if we.
Oh, I only want him if he's going to cross scab lines.
Oh, Schlong turning heel on the Writers Guild.
All
What
of
they have to do for
his
me?
pen name is just going to be the captain.
No.
We're going to see some really bad TV shows coming up.
Oh, boy.
I
guys,
was saying that I really wish we had footage of Matt and when he saw Switchblade.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. I missed it.
I knew he wasn't prepared. I knew it.
I put it away.
The
because
moment's over. The moment's over.
Ryan didn't like when I stuck it in my mouth last week, and I was like,
No, I don't.
No, I'm so scared you're gonna stab yourself.
If he starts bleeding on stream, I'm going to laugh and then feel bad.
We'll probably get blocked on YouTube for putting in
Yeah.
vulgar stuff.
Probably.
But I'm sorry. Who did Matt see?
When we were in Lake City,
Uh-huh.
you know that Matt is such a Switchblade Jay White fan. That he got
So we
pulled.
saw.
Yeah. We were sitting there, and there were a bunch of wrestlers. We were by like the penny slots because that's the only thing I play. And
No,
who do have?
we were at roulette, but it's okay.
They're all by each other.
It's true.
The important thing was
Mhm.
Matt was sitting down, and who do his eyes come upon? But
Sure.
Switchblade, Jay White, and then he did one of the most classic one. The
Start and stop. The stutter.
It was like a guy in a 90s rom-com where he's trying to approach like a teenage rom-com where he's trying to approach like the hot cheerleader, and he's like,
it was like,
what I appreciate is that Matt didn't want to be the weird, obnoxious, interfering fan, but it was hilarious to watch him have a fangirl moment.
it's literally the only time I've ever seen Matt have a fanboy reaction. He's usually like,
It was
I
like,
don't care.
oh, Ortiz, whoever, was like bumping fists with people he knew from the podcast.
Which is,
then Jay
but
White
it
comes along and he's like,
it's also funny because Matt is always the guy who's like, "Did you get a picture?" I'm like, "No." And he's
I
like, "Why not? Just ask for a picture." I'm like, "Because I don't want to bother these guys."
Don't be a fucking mark. Just ask for a picture.
And then I'm like, "Remember that time you didn't go?
Remember when you turned into the
meet your
Chris Farley
hero?
show to meet Jay White?
Who?
Remember that?
You remember
Matt?
that time you
Do you
won?
remember the match
in
you
New
had
Japan?
against
Yeah.
Kenny Omega?
That was cool.
That was awesome.
It was awesome."
Any Hooters, sorry. News notes.
We talked a couple weeks ago about Moxley returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling. We were told in his first booking at May 21st, Resurgence in Long Beach, California, that he was going to be wrestling. The second of those dates was revealed that he was going to be teaming with Shota Umino, who Mox refers to as his young boy, at Dominion on June 4th in Osaka. Umino broke the news about Moxley's return to Japan by stepping to new never open weight 6-man champions Okada, Tanahashi, and Tomohiro Ishii. So that figures to be the match. And we didn't know who the third man was in that match, but they've announced it. And it does now look like it's going to be Moxley, Umino, and someone from the BCC. For Long Beach, it looks like Mox is bringing Wheeler Yuta. So
Matt's gonna be so mad, but
he's
I
gonna
figured
be
as much.
so angry. So angry.
It's gotta be Danielson. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But who knows? Because it does set the table for somebody else from the BCC to join them in Osaka. So who knows? Maybe it will be Claudio. Maybe it will be Danielson. Who knows? But the final card for Resurgence, which New Japan confirmed, will main event the Mercedes Moné or Stephanie Vacker facing Willow Nightingale or Momo Kogo for the new strong women's title. We'll have Tanahashi versus Will Ospreay in the semifinals of the IWGP United States Championship #1 contenders tournament. Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino versus Okada, Big Time Ishii, and Rocky Romero. Hikuleo versus Kenta for the New Japan Strong title. Fred Rosser versus Juice Robinson in a street fight. So they're paying off that storyline, Kate. We saw them build up.
Hell yeah, they are.
Weekend. Zack Sabre Jr. and Bad Dude Tito versus Barbaro Cavanario and Virus. Willow Nightingale versus Momo Kogo in the Women's Championship Tournament semifinal. Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vacker in the tournament first round. And then Bateman versus the DKC pre-show. And Christopher Daniels versus Alex Coughlin, in the pre-show. So it looks like a pretty good card if you're into New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Hell yeah.
Guys, I know we've been talking a lot about Wembley because tickets went on sale in the pre-show. They did really well, or pre-sale, excuse me. Tickets did really well in the pre-sale. And they went on sale Friday. And the early news Friday was that they sold 60,000 tickets in total on Friday. So clearly, everybody's feeling good about that. The Young Bucks even weighed in. Somebody from the WWE said, do you think you can ever sell out a stadium with 80K fans? The Bucks basically were saying, okay, let's call it a bet. Jericho also, said that he was excited for this sort of dream event. And guys, there's
Haven't
also some
announced the card.
haven't announced the card. So that's one thing I was going to say. The two things that are sort of floating out there is one, people are super impressed because there's no card announced. Zero. Anything.
0 matches.
And not even like a hint of what might be on that show. And the second thing is there are some sites out there, I think like crap, I can't remember the site or the Twitter, but there are people out there who are saying the number maybe even as of Friday might have even been closer to like 65,000. So I don't know, guys. I had it at 70, and I think they were shooting for 70. I think they can definitely make that 70. There's still a lot of time left.
I think they might have already hit 70.
Yeah, I was seeing between 65 and 75. They just weren't announcing anything until they're positive they're at the next decade. So they would want to be positive they're at 70 is the way that they're doing the announcement so far. I think they've got a shot at closer to 80, to be honest. Like I think considering they haven't even announced it, I mean,
You're going to get last minute buys.
sure, and you're going to get people who said, this seems really cool. Let me wait and see what matches are announced. And then you're going to have people that once matches are announced or their guy is going to be appearing there for the first time in a decade, 2 decades, ever, that are going to want to see it. And then they're going to see if are you going to do Ospreay and Omega or whatever? Like there's going to be people that buy on for that. So, I think a realistic, optimistic number is you're probably looking at 80,000. And if they sold it out, I would not be blown away based on some stuff. Like if they get, I don't know who's going to be available from WWE or who they're planning on bringing from other places. But like if Mercedes is there, if I don't know when Edge's contract is up, but if they do Edge and Christian in a tag match, like that's going to be insane. People are going to be buying.
And they're going to load it up with all like any big name, UK British talent they can find
For like a 0 hour too.
Yeah, I mean the whole card throughout. I want
you
more
would
than
think
anything.
you would think Saraya Jamie Hayter too.
For sure. A
That's-
co-main
that's
event
a-
probably.
Yeah, but I want Joe Hendry from
Ooh.
Impact. He's Scottish, and I want TK to pay the rights to have him parody a song for his entrance.
I'm in.
Because they were great. But you got Will Ospreay, obviously.
Mhm. Zack
you
Sabre
have,
Jr. could be involved in some way.
Nigel McGuinness put out a tweet that said, I might have to, I don't know if he was just trolling because he seems like the type, but he said, I might have to dust off my wrestling boots.
I think you'd have to. If he can.
If he can do anything, you have to put him in there with Danielson. But my God, like that, it's considering they didn't have the card announced at all, and the fact that they work in an open framework.
Yeah,
they could sell it out.
absolutely.
It's just a matter of who they get.
Now, I'd like to call this comment to the attention of this group. Asian Joe says, we doing a watch along here for the Wembley show. Well, Asian Joe, unfortunately, there's a booking conflict that day. I don't know if you guys realized. There's a little bit of a booking fiasco that day because somebody
Barbecue
who we're all friends with is having another big barbecue that day. And that's the summer. That's the day this summer that he has available. So I don't know. I might be missing.
Is that a Sunday?
Yes.
Yep.
So I can do a watch along because there's not a chance I'm going to the barbecue on a Sunday because it's 2 hours away.
Well, here's the other thing
was
it's true. I know. But the other thing too is that if they stream it live, you would think it's 8 o'clock British time, right? So it would be 3 o'clock here. I think it's a 5-hour difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'll be so if it's 4 hours, it'll be 3 to 7. Which is actually perfect for like daytime wrestling. 3 to 7, beautiful.
I'm going to say two things. One, I prefer Saturday pay-per-views.
Well, we're getting
And-
Collision, so good luck.
I know. And 2, if I can't get Saturday, give me these goddamn daytime pay-per-views.
Yeah. I'm old. Let me finish by like 7. That's what she said.
Well, Double or Nothing is on the 28th, right? So that Monday is is Memorial Day. So suck it up, Buttercup. You could stay.
Oh,
out
that's
on a
fine.
Sunday.
That's fine. If there's nothing the next day, I'm it's just annoying that it's like, oh, it's you know, it ends at midnight. And you're like, I now have to go. Like, I've worked the next morning. It's just a pain in the ass to wind down after that, and you don't get to. No, it's like,
Well, all I can say is stop the presses, guys, because we got to send something to Tony Khan. Jesse Ozak says that's the worst time for him. So they need to move the event.
Move it, yeah.
Just push it later. Put it 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock start British time.
That's it.
Just do it that way. Let's see. Do you guys know that Jericho has recently been mentally and physically assaulted?
Yeah.
I do.
Do you really?
I didn't know you could be mentally assaulted, but okay.
Sure. So,
I mean, isn't that what verbal assault is?
No, that's being verbally assaulted.
But isn't it essentially just mentally assaulting someone then?
No, I don't know how you mentally assault somebody. But what I can tell you is that Jericho and his band Fozzy were at the Hard Rock Cafe in Las Vegas. And he was at apparently the Mandalay Bay for a period. And he tweeted about having a horrible experience trying to get his bags the hotel was holding for him. He said, at Mandalay Bay, it's unacceptable that you tried to bully me and assault me when all I wanted was my bags that I left at concierge. Your security staff ignored me for 30 min, and when I made some noise, physically and mentally assaulted me and laughed in my face. I want restitution now. Guys, he's a delicate little flower.
He is a male Karen.
He's going to be starring in a rom-com on some network that we've never
I
heard
know.
of.
We talked about it with the country angle, and he's so excited to play a good guy.
That's right. He's very excited.
And I said, Aunt, what is our standard for what's considered newsworthy? Because that sounds like some bullshit.
That's right. So yes, he was mentally and physically assaulted. He also tweeted, "Hey Derek, the manager, I'm a Hilton Hotels Diamond member with 2.5 million points. Why did you threaten me when I checked into Hilton President in Kansas City and you didn't have the rooms I paid for available? You threatened and demeaned me when all I wanted was the rooms I booked. Awful service." He also has told people in the past, he's also tweeted to ADT, "I've been on hold for 3 hours trying to give you my money. Can you contact me so I can pay this bill? Because you're just wasting our time at this point. Bad customer service." And he also, back in 2016, should just note that he said, "Awful service from Ben Franklin Plumber. Been waiting for them to come fix my water for 5 days and have been stood up by them twice. Unacceptable." So Jericho doesn't like when he gets bad customer service.
Karen Co.
Whoa.
Maybe he
Easy.
should have given a shit when last year everybody was standing in line for fucking 7 hours to get on his cruise then.
Hey, listen, COVID protocols, all that stuff, different time.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Where's cruise director Mike? I don't see him. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm taking him back from that.
If you go to that barbecue and you don't go in that house to go to the bathroom and come back out with cruise director Mike, that you Ocean's 11'd out of his podcast room upstairs.
If it's not in a case, I'll just take it back and see if he even notices. I doubt he's
Wear a
got
fake
eyes.
mustache.
There you go.
Put on the jumpsuit for Madge. Guys, did you know that Darby Allin is sort of lining up his next big adrenaline rush?
Adrenaline.
Climbing Mount Everest.
Something. Schlong's got it. He's climbing Everest. He
So he
said,
says.
a thing that I'm going to be doing next year that no wrestler's ever done before is climbing Mount Everest. He told TMZ Sports, so it's got to be true.
I'm sure.
Then he's going to skateboard down it like a badass.
I mean, man, that would be pretty badass. Everest is the highest peak on Earth at 29,031.7 feet. A little bit of history for those who don't know. Sir Edmund Hillary and Sherpa Tenzing Norgay are credited to be the first to reach the top on May 29th, 1953. The running tally is now over 4,000 climbers who've successfully scaled the summit. It's no joke getting up to Mount Everest, by the way. At least 321 people have died trying to reach the summit.
Yeah, because they didn't bring their skateboard.
That's very true. Although that's helping you get down, not up.
Yeah, but you get in a tricky situation, you just scoot back down.
I guess. There have already been 4 deaths this year in 2023. It takes around 2 months with a price of more than $40,000 for necessary supplies, permits, and guides.
What are we doing?
He's going to die trying to get up there. I don't know. Kate.
Aunt.
Eddie Kingston confirmed.
Monet.
Eddie Kingston confirmed he did, in fact, have hernia surgery.
Well, that's one of 2 people in our lives that need it. So let's hope Matt's next.
And if Matt does need it, I hope that he announces it or confirms it sort of the same way that Eddie Kingston does. Did you happen to see how he confirmed that he had his surgery?
I did not.
Let me show you.
Is it gross?
No, it's right there. It's him in a hospital bed with a gown giving a middle finger, and he just said, yep, done.
He's the best.
So speedy recovery to Eddie. Hopefully that is, all good now. I don't know how long it'll take for him to get back from, but
I think 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yes.
Well, 6 weeks to recover, but that doesn't mean you're back in 6 weeks.
That's true.
But that's it. I wanted to go out with some Eddie Kingston news because Kate was going to be here. Anybody else got anything? Anybody else? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody?
Nope.
All right. Well, let's tell people where we're going to be at. I'm going to go with Ryan first since he was here the whole show.
Wow.
Well, I guess you can find me at Mark Order Pod, not live tweeting Dark and Dark Elevation.
Oh, see you.
Those motherfuckers. But yeah, come interact with me at Mark Order Pod. Just don't be a jerk, and I'll interact. And tomorrow, I actually have something. You can find me. I will be on Between Two Beards with Pluggo and JPJ on Love Wrestling. I think it's at 8:00. I really should check that. Yeah, you can find me there on their YouTube. I'll post it.
That sounds like fun. You don't have a beard. You should grow a beard.
Just shaved.
You knew
weird.
you had
It's so
this
weird
buff.
when you shave. You look like so much younger. It's so weird. I'm so
I don't
used to
like
all my
seeing-
hosts having beards.
Yeah, I don't like seeing your dumb, bald face.
Wow.
How fucking dare you? The 3rd week after Dark and Elevation are gone.
Hey, I didn't bring it up. I didn't say it. Don't get mad at me. I didn't say it. So look for Schlong tomorrow and on the Twitter machine. Just don't mention the 2 things that shouldn't be mentioned. You know what we're talking about. Kate, what the fuck? Kate, tell the people where you're going to be at.
Playing angelic music.
I had an alarm that I had to set. I am
For 1:15?
Yes, I have ADD. I won't remember to do things I need to do at night without setting alarms. Adderall is long gone from my system.
Can you imagine if you passed out and then at 1:15 your alarm's waking you up? Oh.
Well, I set it for earlier. I just have to switch my laundry. I don't want shit to get moldy.
Oh yeah, that's an easy.
But you can find me at Miss Kate Fabe on Twitter and TikTok. Kate'stagrams on Instagram. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays on the Fightful main channel doing your NXT, ROH, and AEW Rampage and SmackDown post shows, which is basically just the SmackDown one because Rampage keeps moving around all the time. Fightful Select for pay-per-view post shows and for Monday Night Raw. Wednesdays right here back at the Mark Order podcast. And I've got my Excite Wrestling commentary coming up in June. I'll let you guys know when that date is, but I think I have another commentary gig that I can't announce yet.
Well, then why even mention it?
Because it's a lot of appetite.
He's announcing the possibility of an announcement. She learned from Tony Khan.
I'm learned from Tony Khan.
You're
Tune
announcing that you're making an
next
announcement
week for a huge announcement.
About an announcement. And then we're going to have more announcements.
Possibly announcing wrestling.
Right. With more announcements to follow.
That's right.
So yes, Kate says you can find her here every Wednesday, except when she doesn't show up in Double Bucks. Anyway, I told you
I did show up.
I told you I was going to do it, Ryan. Remember? I was like, I'm just going to keep burying the knife.
I'm here.
I'm going to take Jay White.
Ooh, you mean Switchblade?
Bam. Yeah, my Switchblade, Jay White.
That was a good one.
It was okay. No, I'm just messing with Kate because I know it gets under your skin. Let's see. I'm here since nobody asked me to be part of anything. That's fine. I'm here Wednesdays, and I'll plug our socials at Mark Order Pod. Everywhere we are on social, the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the TikToks, the YouTubes, all over at Mark Order Pod. And you could find our link tree in all of our social profiles, which links you to all of our socials, but also has a way you could support us. It has two ways you could support us. One way for free to get free stickers. You just have to click the button, give us your full name, your full mailing address, the country you live in, and your email, just in case I have questions about your mailing address. And then I will send you out some free Mark Order podcast stickers in the mail. We send them worldwide. I just sent some out. I think one LT here in the chat. Yep. Got his stickers today.
You guys rule.
So there you go. Thanks for asking for them. We love sending them. We send them worldwide. So keep those requests coming.
Jesse, sorry, I just saw Jesse's comment. Yes, June 2nd and 3rd are my Excite dates. June 2nd one is at the Arnott Mall. So if you are, for some reason, in the Elmira area, feel free to check us out.
Unless you are not.
I can't even be mad because that's like it's called the Arnott Mall. Like it's begging for it.
My God.
Yeah.
Don't make it okay.
That's like a good one though.
Don't. There's no such thing as a good pun.
You know I'm a pun enthusiast.
Doesn't make it right.
Stickers, t-shirts, and more at the Mark Order Podcast.
I didn't even get to the t-shirts. There's also a link to the t-shirts, so check it out. If you click that button, you'll be taken here to our Pro Wrestling Tees store, or you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/MarkOrderPod, or just search the Pro Wrestling Tees store for Mark Order Podcast. You'll find all of our shirts, 4 of them, 2 single prints, 2 double-sided. Any of the money you spend there goes right back into producing this lovely show for you people. So if you like to spend your money on us, we appreciate it greatly. And we still can't believe that people actually want to buy and wear our shirts. So thank you.
We fucking rule.
Well, we do. I'm my favorite. I don't know how to break it to you guys. So when I'm not here, I don't listen. I'm sorry.
And Monday.
Thanks everybody who watched along with us tonight. Thank you. The Jesse Ozogs, 1LT Photo, Asian Joe, Sloanamite checked in for a little bit. Caden was here. We booted him though. Pedro. Who am I leaving out? Schlong. Anybody else?
I was in the chat for a minute.
Cabbage. No, we booted you too. Gordon Post. Sorry, Gordon. I didn't mean to neglect you either. I'm scanning back quickly. Yeah, that sounds like just about everybody. Eric Freeds was in here earlier too. So thank you everybody who was watching along and chatting along. We love it. Thanks everybody who's listening in podcast form. We love you guys too. Something everybody can do to help us out. If you take a few moments, rate, review, subscribe on any podcast platform you are part of. And on YouTube, that helps us out in more ways than you guys think. So a few minutes to sort of just rate, review, like, subscribe. We appreciate that. We know it's sort of a pain in the neck, but we appreciate it. Also, if you're listening in podcast form and you've never checked us out in video form, check us out on YouTube. All the videos are there in the archives. And we have it all separated out. Here's our weekly shows. Here's our bonus shows. Here's other stuff. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, we're great.
We are. I'm still trying to figure out if we're doing that bonus show. That regular bonus show we talked about Mrs. Money's Many Men of AEW. So we're still working that out. More to come. Yeah. Other than that, we'll be back next week. I don't think I have anything else to say. We'll be back next week, or will we? Who knows? You'll have to tune. Well, they'll have to tune in to find out, right? Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see. Schlong, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
It's like, is he actually going to say anything?
I debated it.
Here.
Kate, I'm getting to you. I'm going to Schlong first. He launched this program with me. Launched it. Kate, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
I appreciate being here. It was nice to hang out with Ryan and Ant and Switchblade.
I don't have it. It's already away.
Close the show. Close the show. It's done.
Just end it.
It is done. Now I'm going to make it go an extra minute. Tune in next week for all these bits that we continue to put in your ears every week.
Tune in for the bits.
By the way, Kate, tonight, it wasn't a commercial, just so you know, it wasn't a commercial, but I did have to tell people how much I love high chews. I don't know if you love high chews. I love high chews.
Oh my gosh, because you know what? They're sweet and sour, Ant. That's what I love about a good high chew.
These ones are sweet and sour, but they also have tropical. They have soda flavors. But you know what I love, Kate?
What a delicious array of flavors that anybody can enjoy.
They're immensely fruity and intensely chewy. That's how some people have referred to me before. So it is delightful. And on that note, we're wrapped. So thank you all for listening tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week on the Mark Order Podcast, part of the Shining Wizards Network.
This concludes the Mark Order Podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Join the Mark Order.